Chapter 2292. 2292 killed everyone in a domineering manner. Kai Qiaoqing pointed her finger at Situ Yin. Her scream was a little ear-piercing. Situ Yin's face changed when she was pointed at. She looked even paler. She looked at her teacher in fear. "You are the one who hurt my daughter. You are so vicious at such a young age." Before everyone could speak, the woman stared at Situ Yin and questioned her coldly. Situ Yin opened her mouth. Wang Xian waved his hand and asked her not to speak. "Who are you?" He narrowed his eyes slightly and stared at the woman as he asked indifferently. "I am Kai Qiaoqing's mother. My daughter was tortured so miserably. I want to ask, are all of you so ruthless?" The woman looked at Wang Xian and asked with a cold expression, "Mother, he is the teacher of Class 1. Kai Qiaoqing whispered to her mother at the side. "The teacher of the academy?" "The teacher of the academy led his students here to bully other students. How can he be so cruel?" The woman's face turned even colder when she heard her daughter's words. She stared at Wang Xian and questioned him. Her valiant aura was fully displayed. "Is she a teacher from the Xintian Academy?" Wang Xian ignored the woman's gaze and turned his head to look at Teacher Niu. "No." Teacher Niu glanced at Wang Xian and replied indifferently. Upon seeing this scene, he was actually feeling better. "Your students' methods are indeed a little cruel." In the end, he couldn't help but comment indifferently. This curse technique was indeed extremely terrifying, cruel, and bloody. "Hee. 5 days ago when your students came to humiliate my students, it was fine. Now that I've defeated you, it's not allowed?" Wang Xian spoke to Elder Niu with some disdain as he looked at the woman slowly. "If you're not a teacher of the academy, how dare you be so arrogant here? Do you understand the rules of the academy? Students are allowed to settle their own matters. Even teachers are not allowed to interfere, let alone your parents?" He said coldly to the woman. Boom. When the woman heard Wang Xian's words, her face was filled with anger. A terrifying aura erupted from her body. "Even if we can't interfere, your students have gone too far. You must give my daughter an explanation for this matter." She stared at Wang Xian coldly. How could she be willing to give up when her daughter was in such a miserable state? She must give her an explanation. "Why didn't you say anything when your daughter was humiliating others?" Wang Xian stared at the woman and said coldly, I was merely sparring with them, but you guys?" Kai Qiaoqing said angrily when she heard Wang Xian's words. "Hee. I'll settle my student's matter. Since someone has interfered, I'll die." A hint of brutality flashed across Wang Xian's eyes when he saw their actions. Buzz. He waved his arm and the 5 elements millstone appeared in his hand instantly. Buzz. 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 The next moment, the entire world underwent a terrifying transformation. The formation set up by the surrounding academies emitted cracking sounds. The entire space underwent a terrifying transformation in an instant. A black hole. A terrifying black hole surrounded the surroundings. Roar. 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 At this moment, the divine dragon on the 5 elements millstone let out a roar and the formation set up on it was activated immediately. A chain that looked like a water snake attacked the woman directly. What? The sudden change caused everyone's expression to change drastically. Teacher Niu widened his eyes as he scanned his surroundings with a face full of astonishment. He then swept his gaze across Wang Xian. He actually dared to make a move right here. Furthermore, looking at his violent killing intent, it was definitely not as simple as making a move. "All students, come behind me." An embarrassed look appeared on his face as he shouted at his students. "Teacher Wang, what are you doing?" Sensing the terrifying energy around him, he could not help but shout at Wang Xian. He had mastered 5 laws and was not a weak powerhouse. However, he had never made a move in the academy before. He did not dare to be so unbridled. "You, what are you going to do? Do you really think that we are easy to bully?" The woman's expression changed drastically when she saw Wang Xian making a move. She immediately shielded her daughter behind her and unleashed the strength of an eternal celestial master level 4. Her strength was slightly weaker than Wang Xian and Teacher Niu. With such strength, You dare to be so arrogant in the Xintian Academy? You also dare to act rashly? Then, you shall stay here forever." Wang Xian revealed a cold expression. It was obvious that such a person was not a good person. The heart of light and darkness could also sense a person's good and bad qualities. With such strength, he still dared to be arrogant towards him. If he dared to be unbridled in front of his students, then he would kill him. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The water snake formed by the formation attacked her directly. At the same time, Wang Xian waved his arm and continued to set up the formation. Numerous blood-red chains appeared in the void. The blood-red chains revealed a bloodthirst that caused one to be in a trance. You. When the woman saw his undisguised killing intent, golden rays shot out from her body and slashed at the water snake in front of Wang Xian. However, when her attack landed on the water snake, her expression changed drastically. She was not his opponent. "Are you going to kill me?" The woman's expression was extremely ugly as she shouted at Wang Xian. "Walala!" In the next moment, the blood-red chains attacked the woman. The huge gap made it impossible for him to withstand the attacks of the water snake and the blood-red chains. Poo. When she was unable to dodge in time, the chains penetrated her body and wrapped around her body. "Ah!" The woman let out a shrill roar as her eyes revealed a look of extreme fear. This young teacher really dared to kill her. Flee! Fear appeared in the woman's eyes, and her figure began to turn illusory. However, at this moment, the surrounding black hole trembled, and an inexplicable suction force made it impossible for her to return to her eternal divine kingdom. Not good. What kind of formation is this? No. The woman let out a mournful cry, and her face was filled with panic. What is this? Teacher Inayu's expression changed drastically as well. He could sense that the woman wanted to escape. However, the black hole around her emitted an inexplicable tearing force, making it impossible for her to escape. What kind of formation is this? It's so terrifying to trap the Eternal Lord. Teacher Inayu's expression changed drastically as well. His eyes were filled with fear. Crash. At this moment, the blood-red chains penetrated the woman's body and pulled her towards Wang Xian. No, don't kill me. Don't kill me. The woman was completely terrified at this moment. She shouted at Wang Xian with a face full of fear. At the back, Kai Xiaoqing and all the students from Class 2 were completely dumbfounded. They never expected that the teacher from Class 1 would be so violent and vicious. He was actually going to kill Kai Xiaoqing's mother. Furthermore, the other party's mother was completely helpless. No, mother. At this moment, the arrogant Kai Xiaoqing also panicked and shouted loudly. Chapter 2293. 2293 was in the midst of the horror of killing everyone. Walala. In the empty space of the black hole, a blood-red chain rang. The woman widened her eyes and looked at Wang Xian with a face full of panic. Her body was trembling non-stop. At the back, Kai Xiaoqing's face was filled with fear. She was shouting loudly for her mother. All the students in Class 2 shuddered and were trembling. Bang! Wang Xian stretched out his hand and grabbed the woman's neck. There was a hint of a smile in his eyes. Metal attribute. Cough. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. If you kill me, you have also violated the laws of the Tianzi continent. The woman trembled as she saw Wang Xian grabbing her neck. Intruding into the Xintian Academy and using the might of the Eternal Lord to suppress the students, you deserve to die. Wang Xian stared at the woman coldly and said with a grim expression, "So, you, go to hell." Wang Xian's mind stirred. Soul Catcher. When the Soul Catcher was activated, the woman's face instantly became absent-minded. There was even a hint of fear and despair on her face. Buzz. Very soon, Wang Xian withdrew the Soul Catcher. A terrifying pressure was transmitted into her mind. Summon your eternal kingdom. He shouted softly and transmitted it into the woman's mind. The woman, whose face was lifeless and her eyes were pale, opened her mouth slightly. Behind her, an eternal kingdom slowly appeared in the sky. However, the black hole was a little small. This space could not contain her eternal kingdom at all. Wang Xian moved his body, and the phantom image of the Dragon Palace appeared behind him. He pulled the eternal kingdom into the Dragon Palace. Cough, cough, cough. At the same time, the woman disconnected from her eternal kingdom. Blood kept spurting out of her mouth, and her eyes regained a trace of color. However, this trace of color was more of despair. No, no, don't kill my mother, sob, sob. At this moment, Kai Qiaoqing, who was at the side, had a complete breakdown. Her eyes were bloodshot as she kept shouting at Wang Xian, "Don't kill my mother. It's Shangguan Jahan or Shizhengyang. They are the ones who came looking for us to cause trouble for your student. It's all them. Don't kill my mother. Woo woo, it's all them. No, no, teacher." She sat on the ground with a horrified expression and begged Wang Xian for mercy. Wang Xian's hand movements paused slightly. Shangguan Jahan? Shizhengyang. Shangguan Jahan, Shizhengyang? Aren't they the Heaven's Order disciples of the Beast Tamer Institute? They are also famous in our institute. They were the ones who instructed Kai Qiaoqing and the rest to do it. Everyone around was slightly stunned when they heard Kai Qiaoqing's words. They were filled with astonishment. Their actions 5 days ago were actually instigated by the two Heaven's favorites of the Beast Tamer Institute. Why? This made some students think of the rumors about Teacher Wang on the AI recently, and some people had some understanding. So someone was behind it on purpose. But looking at the powerful and terrifying Teacher Wang in front of them, they could imagine that Shangguan Jahan and Shizhengyang were probably going to be in trouble. Perhaps they were going to be killed. So what if they were killed for slandering an eternal God Lord level powerhouse in secret? Even if he couldn't make a move on the surface, it would be easy to kill them in the dark. You're courting death. Wang Xian shouted coldly. His palm landed on the woman's head and threw her into the Dragon Palace before disappearing instantly. No. Kai Qiaoqing screamed in despair when she saw this scene. Her mother was an eternal Lord-level powerhouse. Her mother doted on her very much. It was also because of her mother that she had developed such an arrogant and despotic personality. She did not put anyone in her eyes. In fact, 5 days ago, if not for someone beside her reminding her, she would have struck even more ruthlessly. But now, her mother had been killed directly from behind. She did not even run away. When all the students in Class 2 saw this scene, their bodies trembled, and their eyes were filled with fear. An expert who was almost on par with their teacher was killed by the teacher of Class 1. He was killed right in front of them. This was too terrifying. When Teacher Niu saw this scene, his heart pounded violently. He could sense that Wang Xian's strength was about the same as his. However, this strange space could actually prevent the Eternal Lord from escaping. He couldn't do such a formation. The reason why the Eternal Lord was so difficult to kill was that they could escape in an instant. However, if they encountered Wang Xian, they would really die. Even he didn't dare to fight against such a person. In particular, the other party was too unbridled. They actually dared to kill that woman. Even if what happened today was the woman's fault, killing her would be too serious. If they were to really bicker, he would have to pay a heavy price. When he heard Kai Qiaoqing's words, his expression turned ugly as well. Is what she said true? Teacher Niu stared at Zhao Yuanfeng and Niu Fei Yuan with a dark expression as he asked in a low voice. Teacher, we? At this moment, the two of them had just been released from the array curse. When they saw this scene, they almost cried. If they had known that Teacher Wang was so terrifying and so unbridled, they wouldn't have dared to do such a thing no matter how much benefits he gave them. Even an eternal Lord-level expert had been killed. If the other party wanted to deal with them, they wouldn't even know how they died. Although the laws of the Tianzi continent were perfect, an expert trying to assassinate a weakling was completely undetectable. You're courting death. For the sake of 2 students, you actually dared to provoke an eternal lord. When Elder Niu saw their expressions, he revealed an extremely furious expression. How could an eternal lord-level expert be so easily provoked? Even if you were a student of the Xintian Academy, the other party would still dare to kill you in secret, especially since this Wang Xian knew how to curse the formation. If he were to kill them, It would be too easy. No one would be able to find any evidence. In a while, kneel down and beg Teacher Wang for forgiveness. Tell him everything. Elder Inayu looked at the two reckless fellows and his face turned black. If they were not the sons of his relatives and friends, he would not care about the two fellows who were courting death. Yes, yes. Yes, teacher. At this moment, they knew what to do even without Teacher Nyo's instructions. The other party had killed an eternal lord without any restraint. Crack, crack, crack. At this moment, the surrounding formation suddenly let out the sound of collapsing. Wang Xian raised his head and saw someone attacking the formation outside. He waved his arm. Buzz. With a wave of his arm, he withdrew the formation. The moment the formation withdrew, the surrounding sounds of the world wailing could be heard. Outside, more than 10 teachers saw the formation retreating and sensed the changes in the world. Their expressions changed drastically. The Master of God has fallen. What happened? An old man roared in anger. His face was filled with vigilance. The formation disappeared. Their eyes were fixed on the area below and swept across everyone. Teachers, there is an expert who broke into the Xintian Academy. He has been killed by me. Wang Xian saw more than a dozen teachers outside. Some were strong and some were weak. He spoke nonchalantly. Chapter 2294. 2294 killed everyone in a terrifying manner. Boom, boom, boom. The mournful cries of heaven and earth resounded in the sky above Xintian Academy. This time, all the students and teachers raised their heads in shock. Their faces were filled with shock. The mournful cries of heaven and earth represented the fall of an eternal God Lord level expert. How could such an expert fall in Xintian Academy? Could it be an eternal Lord level powerhouse who had passed away? Some teachers flew over quickly. In front of Class 7, more than a dozen teachers looked at Wang Xian in astonishment. His calm voice caused everyone to be stunned. An powerhouse has barged into the Xintian Academy? The teachers frowned slightly and showed a stunned expression. Which expert dared to barge into the Xintian Academy? This was simply courting death. In the entire Xintian domain, the safest place was the Xintian Academy. Barging in here was no different from courting death. No one dared to do it. Teachers, you have to uphold justice for your students. He killed my mother. He killed my mother. Right at this moment, an incomparably mournful voice came out from Kai Xiaoqing's mouth. She knelt on the ground and roared with a face full of malevolence and despair. When the teachers heard her, they were even more stunned. Their eyes were sparkling. Your mother is not from the academy. However, because of the sparring between students, you were injured and came here to suppress the students of the Xintian Academy. You deserve to die. Wang Xian stared at Kai Xiaoqing and said coldly. When the teachers heard their words, their faces were filled with astonishment. Teacher Nyo, what happened? One of the teachers asked Teacher Nyo, who was at the back. It's indeed as Teacher Wang said. Teacher Wang's students had seriously injured her. Her mother came to interrogate her and was killed by Teacher Wang. Although the students' parents can enter the academy directly, her mother's behavior was indeed a little too excessive and arrogant. Teacher Nyo was silent for a moment before he spoke up. He was obviously speaking up for Wang Xian. Now that Kai Xiaoqing's mother was dead and his two students were involved, he could only try to curry favor with Wang Xian so that he wouldn't hold a grudge against them. HMPH, the parents of the students actually dared to come to our academy to denounce us. So what if they're dead? A seemingly rude teacher harumphed coldly when he heard his words. Clearly, in his opinion, he should just kill them. The other teachers fell silent. It was wrong for outsiders to barge into the Heavenly Academy and act arrogantly, but killing them directly was a little too serious. Let the Academy's leaders decide on this matter. An elder said softly. The other teachers also nodded. They couldn't interfere in this matter. Teacher Wang, it's our fault. We shouldn't have listened to the bewitchment of Shangguan Jahan and Shi Zhengyang. It's our fault. At this moment, at the back, Zhao Yuanfeng and Niu Feiyuan were kneeling on the ground and begging Wang Xian for mercy. Wang Xian glanced at them and didn't bother with them. I'm going to take care of some matters. Please inform Director Jean about this matter. Wang Xian spoke to Teacher Niu and flew towards the west. Director Jean? All right. Teacher Niu was slightly taken aback. He nodded his head and looked at Wang Xian. How did this involve Shangguan Jahan and Shi Jingyang from the Beast Taming Academy? When the teachers saw the sudden situation, they walked over and asked in astonishment. Shangguan Jahan and Shi Jingyang knew that they were also famous students of Xintian Academy. Shangguan Jahan and Shi Jingyang found a few freshmen and severely injured Wang Laoshi's student. They might have spread bad news about Wang Laoshi. Oh no, he went to the west. Could it be that he is going to kill Shangguan Jahan and Shi Jingyang? As Teacher Niu spoke, he suddenly raised his voice and a look of shock appeared on his face. What? The surrounding teachers were taken aback. It's hard to say. If he dares to kill an eternal godlord, he might be able to kill 2 students. Following which, Elder Niu frowned and continued speaking with an ugly expression on his face. Report this to the directors immediately. An elder opened his mouth slightly and hurriedly spoke. At this moment, more and more teachers rushed over. When they had just understood the situation here, they were also somewhat dumbstruck. The new teacher of the new student class 1 had actually killed an Eternal Lord rank 4 expert, causing him to not even be able to escape. Such strength was truly terrifying. Thinking that he might have gone to kill 2 students now, the other teachers were even more dumbstruck. This was too unbridled. The teachers were so shocked, not to mention the students of Class 1, Class 2, and Class 7. They looked at Teacher Wang's disappearing figure with astonishment. Shangguan Jahan, Shi Jingyang. They should be the 2 from the House of War Beasts. Wang Xian flew in the direction of the Beast Tamer School and took out his AI to search. Both of them were famous people in the Xintian Academy, so they could easily find out a lot of information. When he thought about how the 2 of them dared to target him in secret, a murderous intent flashed across his eyes. He had brought this upon himself. He came to the sky above the Beast Taming School and scanned his surroundings with his yin-yang and 5 elements dragon eyes. Soon, he saw 2 familiar figures in a huge building in the middle. Beast Taming Ground, the largest beast taming ground in the Beast Taming Academy. At this moment, in the center of the Beast Taming Ground, Shangguan Jahan and Shi Jingyang were standing in front of a few sea monsters. There were many students gathered around them. The 2 of them were the center of attention in the Mysterious Sky Academy. Wherever they went, there would be people following them. In particular, the 2 of them were relatively handsome. There were more than a dozen girls gathered around them. The 2 of them were just about to purchase some battle beasts from the academy when the battle at the front lines caused all of their battle pets to fall. It's a pity that we don't have many divine stones left. The 2 of them looked at the sea monster in front of them and felt a little helpless in their hearts. The collapse of the battle beast house had caused them to have quite a number of meteorites. Brother Jingyang, even if you don't have any more divine stones, you can still purchase battle pets with 9 wisps of divine fire. You're not like us, who are too poor. A girl pouted and said from the side, Hee, when your beast taming skills improve a little more, you won't be lacking in divine stones. Shi Jingyang smiled faintly. His face was filled with a hint of arrogance. Clap, clap, clap. Just as they were talking, Wang Xian slowly walked over to them. He looked at Shangguan Jahan and Shi Jingyang who were in front of him. His eyes were filled with indifference. To provoke a powerhouse, you have to pay with your life. When Wang Xian was 20 meters away from them, his voice entered their ears. Huh. The 2 of them were slightly stunned when they heard this voice. They turned around in astonishment. The people who were surrounding them also turned around in astonishment. It's you. When the 2 of them saw Wang Xian, their expressions changed drastically. A hint of fear flashed in their eyes. You brought this upon yourself? Wang Xian looked at them. With a wave of his arm, a terrifying energy engulfed them. Chapter 2295. 2295. If 2295 was killed, so be it. Boom. In the Beast Tamer yard of the Beast Tamer School, a terrifying explosion sounded. The energy that was filled with destruction landed on the bodies of Shangguan Jahan and Shi Jingyang, instantly exploding. The gray energy directly caused the two of them to dissipate. The two people who had been standing there proudly just a moment ago had completely disappeared, not even leaving a trace of ashes behind. A horrified scream came from the mouths of a few female students around them. They looked at the position of Shangguan Jahan and Shi Zhengyang in astonishment. Their eyes swept across Wang Xian and were filled with fear. Shangguan Jahan and Shi Zhengyang were actually killed. They were actually killed by someone. What happened? What happened? Some of the surrounding people looked over with doubtful expressions. The sudden explosion shocked them as well. Someone actually dared to make a move in the beast taming ground. What's going on? At this moment, the two teachers in the beast taming ground flew over and looked around with a frown. Because Shangguan Jahan and Shi Zhengyang had disappeared, those who didn't see it didn't know what had happened. He killed Shangguan Jahan and Shi Zhengyang. He killed them. A female student pointed at Wang Xian in horror. However, she kept retreating. What? The two teachers were slightly stunned. Their faces were filled with astonishment. They looked at Wang Xian and locked onto him with their auras. I am a teacher of the academy. The academy will naturally look for me for this matter. I will also explain it to them. Wang Xian looked at the two teachers and walked straight out. Hiss, he really killed Shangguan Jahan and Shi Zhengyang. The two teachers were slightly shocked when they heard his words. Their faces were filled with shock. When they saw Wang Xian leaving, the two of them looked at each other. One of them followed beside Wang Xian, while the other immediately informed the experts of the beast taming school and the teachers of Shangguan Jahan, Shi Zhengyang, and the rest. Boom. At this moment, everyone in the entire beast taming ground was shocked. Shangguan Jahan and Shi Zhengyang were actually killed by a teacher. What kind of hatred do they have? I saw it just now. They were killed instantly. Both of them didn't even have any ashes. Hiss, this is too terrifying. Why did that teacher kill Shangguan Jahan and Shi Zhengyang directly? Shocked voices rang out in the beast taming ground. Everyone's eyes widened as they discussed in disbelief. A teacher killing a student. This was the first time this had happened in the Xintian Academy. Even if a student had committed a huge mistake, there would still be law enforcement to deal with it. Now that they were killed on the spot, not even ashes were left. It could be said that they were extremely ferocious. This matter was spreading within the Xintian Academy at a terrifying speed. It was spreading on the AI. At the same time, Shangguan Jahan's teacher was also his master. Shi Zhengyang's grandfather, Elder Shi, soon received the news that they had been killed. When they heard about this matter, they were completely stunned and immediately flew towards the academy. At the same time, the principal of the Beast Taming Academy, an expert at the pinnacle of the Eternal Divine Lord realm, and several directors of the Beast Taming Academy also received the news. The two heavens favorites of the Beast Taming School were killed. This was a major event for the entire Xintian Academy. The higher-ups of the Beast Taming School immediately flew toward the array yard. The teachers of the other schools also came over with some curiosity. At this moment, Director Jean also received the news. When she learned that Wang Xian had killed the parents of a student and two heavens favorites of the Beast Taming School, she was also stunned. Looking at this news, she felt that it was extremely troublesome. Wang Xian was personally arranged by the dean. How could he be an ordinary person if the dean was able to arrange it personally? Although Wang Xian didn't deserve to die for his crimes, he had violated the rules of the Xintian Academy and was going to be severely punished. Let's ask the dean. Dean Jean mumbled and immediately sent a message to the dean. Boom. Dean Jean, what's going on? Your teacher of the formation court forcefully killed a prodigy of our academy. Why haven't you suppressed him yet? At this moment, the door opened with a loud bang, and three figures rushed in furiously. Two old men and a demonic beast were filled with rage. Vice Principal Qing, Dean Hua, Brother Yao, I know about this matter. I am waiting for the principal's reply. Seeing that they had all entered the room, Department Head Jean rubbed his eyebrows and stood up with a bitter expression on his face. Waiting for the principal's reply? Do you really need the principal's reply for such a small matter? It isn't good for a teacher to kill his students by force. Thus, we should just imprison him and... Wang. As the old man in the center spoke, a terrifying energy suddenly gushed out from the room. Department head Jin's expression changed slightly. He hurriedly bowed respectfully. The other people's pupils also slightly contracted, and they stood there respectfully. Kill him then. Before the energy condensed into a human figure, just a sound was heard, and it immediately disappeared. However, the few experts from the Beast Tamer school were slightly stunned, their faces filled with astonishment. Their headmaster had always been fair and impartial. Even if it was his own descendant who had made a mistake, he was still the same as the commoners, and now they looked at Director Jean in astonishment. Director Jean had told the principal in advance that he might know some things. I don't know much either, but that teacher Wang was personally arranged by the principal. Director Jean opened his mouth and said to them, personally arranged by the principal? A few days ago, the guards came to inform us that a young man had come to the academy, and the principal had personally come to receive him. This? Vice Principal Qing widened his eyes, and a glint flashed in them. Let's end this matter here. Kai Xiaoqing's mother came to cause trouble, and she was executed on the spot. Shangguan Jahan and Shi Jingyang have been secretly disrespectful to the academy's teachers, and they have offended the experts. If you want to kill them, so be it. As for the two teachers and their families, you can handle them. Director Jean looked at them and said solemnly, all right. Everyone nodded without the slightest objection. Since the principal had spoken, even if that Wang Laosher killed them for no reason, he would still be innocent. The words of the principal were above everything in the mysterious sky domain. Vice Principal, Director, how should we deal with the matter of Wang Laosher killing Shangguan Jahan and Shi Jingyang? Vice Principal, we can't let such a teacher off so easily. Such an influence. Enough. The few of them walked out of the room. Shangguan Jahan Laosher, who was waiting outside, growled with a gloomy face. However, before he could speak, he was interrupted by Vice Principal Qing. Two weaklings actually dare to play tricks on the experts behind their backs. If they die, so be it. This matter will end here. If anyone dares to deal with that Wang Laosher secretly, don't blame our Xintian Academy for being impolite. All of you should go back and tell their families that they deserve to die. Vice Principal Qing spoke to them sternly. The teachers outside were slightly shocked and their faces were filled with shock. Chapter 2296 2296 2296 Exploding AI. The new student teacher forcefully killed the arrogant parents of the students who had entered the academy. Forcefully killed two students who had provoked him behind his back. Two pieces of news quickly spread throughout the entire Xintian Academy. All the students were stunned when they saw this news. Some people said that the killing was good and that the prestige of the Xintian Academy and the experts were inviolable. Some people also said that it was too serious and too excessive. However, the academy didn't reply or punish that teacher. This caused some students to be extremely shocked. The teachers and family members of Shangguan Jahan and Shi Jingyang who were killed didn't say anything either, as if this matter didn't happen. Everything was extremely calm. Other than some students discussing such a huge matter, it didn't cause too much of a stir. Only some teachers in the academy knew some inside information. Many people guessed that Teacher Wang might have a deep relationship with Director Jean. That was why he was not punished this time. After all, Director Jean was a powerhouse at the peak of the Eternal Lord level and the wife of a powerhouse who was the dean's descendant. It was still possible to suppress this matter. After all, it was those people who were arrogant and seeking death. Wang Xian did not care about killing those three people at all. With the relationship between him and the Celestial Emperor of Heaven's formation, let alone killing three people, even if he killed 30,000 of them, he reckoned that it would not be a big deal. He had also finished dealing with the students in the class. At this moment, he was staying in the Dragon Palace's pet shop. The Dragon Palace's pet shop had been open for a few days last month. Today, it was ready to officially open for business. He was going to start selling his pets. After a rough calculation, he had obtained more than 120 Eternal Godlord level war pets from the extreme cold northern region this time. The Ice Drill Croc was the highest level. Other than the Ice Drill Croc, the most valuable ones were the 99 northern howling skywolves. They stood in a row with an imposing manner that shook the sky. Other than these, there was one Eternal Godlord level 4 war pet, 3 level 3 war pets, and more than a dozen level 1 war pets. These were all worth a lot. Of course, the value of the entire pack of ice wolves was not low either. 3,521 ice wolves were comparable to dozens of level 1 Eternal Lord war pets. If all of these were sold, putting everything aside, it would be enough for Wang Xian to advance to level 2 Eternal Lord war pets. There are a little too many war pets this time. It's still too early to sell them one by one. Let's see if there are any big buyers who can buy up to 1,000 of them in one go. Wang Xian mumbled. He couldn't stay here to sell his pets. It was too much of a waste of time. Let's post some information on the AI. Wang Xian opened the AI and posted the information on the shop of the Dragon Palace's war pets. They were selling the Ice Wolf, which was at the peak of the godly state, and the war pet, which was the main war pet of the eternal godly state. After posting the information, Wang Xian sent the information to the girls who were descendants of Xian Tian one by one. At that time, the main reason for adding their artificial intelligence was to let them buy war pets. The last time, a middle-aged man who mastered 7 to 8 laws wanted to buy a war pet. Let him know as well. Wang Xian thought to himself and sent out the information one by one. After sending out the information, Wang Xian hesitated for a moment and took a look at some of the information. Now that they were in the Tianzi continent, it was necessary to have some basic information. When Wang Xian saw the trending topics recently, he was stunned. One of the trending topics was the invincible heaven's pride in the land of battle techniques, a man and a beast guarding a city, and the ice drill alligator, a level 5 battle pet of the eternal celestial master. He opened the video and saw the scene that happened in Tianbei Haiqing. This guy. Wang Xian looked at such a clear video and some text descriptions. The corner of his mouth twitched. At that time, he was curious about what this guy was filming for. It turned out that he was using it to show off. However, this video did attract the attention of the entire natural selection continent. Not to mention the attention of the invincible battle technique itself, just the attention of the ice drill crocodile mount was enough to attract everyone. How boring. Wang Xian shook his head. Looking at the replies below, the corner of his mouth twitched. The comments below that wanted to give birth to a monkey for him and marry him actually amounted to tens of millions. There was even a fan club for the invincible battle technique. What the fuck? This fellow was even more famous than a celebrity. What is this? Suddenly, Wang Xian's eyes lit up. Looking at the topic that was trending below, his eyes sparkled. The roar of 1,000 wolves, the roar of 3,000 to 4,000 ice-breaking wolves, terrorizing millions of sea monsters. Wang Xian opened the video. The video was also shot by the invincible combat techniques. It was obviously an unintentional scene. 3,000 to 4,000 ice-breaking wolves stood on the wall of 10,000 miles and let out a roar. It was obvious that millions of sea monsters were stunned. Such an imposing scene attracted the attention of many people. It seemed like their blood was boiling. As for the comments below, some people guessed that it was a battle pet tamed by a powerful beast tamer in the land of battle techniques. Some people were envious and wished that this battle pet was their own. A mount was the love of all the powerhouses, just like how ordinary people loved supercars. I didn't expect this Ice Wolf pack to become famous. Is it easier to attack? Wang Xian raised his eyebrows as his eyes sparkled. He could use the Ice Wolves to promote his Dragon Palace's pet shop. If he could get the entire natural selection continent to pay attention to the Dragon Palace's pet shop, it would be much more convenient as long as he had a pet and could sell it instantly in the future. As he thought to himself, he took out his AI and sent a message to Invincible in Combat Arts. This fellow was so famous in the Tianzi continent. Wouldn't it be better to ask him to help with the publicity? At the thought of this, a smile appeared on Wang Xian's face. Damn, that pack of ice wolves is really popular now. Damn, if I had known earlier, I would have snatched some ice wolves even if I wanted to. With thousands of ice wolves following behind me, it's simply too cool. Wang Xian sent me a message. He is definitely here to collect my debt. Himph. He wants me to pay back the money that I, Invincible of battle techniques, owe with my abilities? No way. At this moment, Invincible of Battle Techniques was looking at the AI leisurely in an extremely luxurious high-tech villa. When he saw the message sent by Wang Xian, the corner of his mouth twitched. He didn't even take a look at it. Damn you. You idiot. You actually didn't reply to my message. All right, just you wait. Wang Xian waited for more than 10 minutes and realized that there was no reply. His face was dark. However, at this moment, there were many people looking for him in Wang Xian's brain. Some of them were customers who had bought his battle pet before. There were also some powerhouses who didn't manage to buy his battle pet last time. At this moment, when they saw his message, they immediately came forward to inquire. Wang Xian immediately replied to them one by one. At this moment, a group of unmarried girls from the descendants of Xian Tian also saw his message. Some of the girls vomited blood when they saw that he was actually trying to sell them his pets. It seemed like the last time he left his contact information, he wanted them to buy his items. Chapter 2297. 2297 was furious. There's something wrong with that Wang Xian's brain. He just sent me a message asking me if I want to buy a pet. This fellow, I'm as pretty as a flower and he didn't want to chat with me. Now, he's asking me if I want to buy a war pet. I've also received his message. He even said that there are a lot of war pets for the Eternal Godlord. Is this fellow trying to trick us? It's possible. Sisters, please pay attention. If there's any situation, report it immediately. In the group chat of the female students of the descendants of Xian Tian who were currently unmarried, a group of female students received Wang Xian's message. When they saw the message, the corners of their mouths twitched. They scolded Wang Xian for being blind. Instantly, the entire group chat was bustling with activity. No female students replied to Wang Xian's message. The middle-aged powerhouse who came last time and mastered 7 to 8 laws didn't reply either. What are they really doing? At this moment, Wang Xian, who was in the Dragon Palace's pet shop, revealed a helpless expression. There were a few people who contacted him just now, but they didn't buy any. Even if they did, they would only buy one. He had too many battle pets in his hands. Should I advertise? Wang Xian thought to himself. He could advertise in the AI. As long as he had the money, he could spread the word across the entire natural selection continent. Furthermore, if he was willing to spend a lot of money, the AI would even automatically pop up an advertisement once he opened the AI. It was really awesome. Advertise. If the Dragon Palace's war pet becomes popular this time, there's no need to go through so much trouble next time. War pets are precious after all. It's not something that can be bought just because you want to. Wang Xian mumbled to himself. He decided to advertise a wave of advertisements. Furthermore, it would be a big advertisement. He gritted his teeth and thought for a while. Then, he turned on his AI and began to edit a video. This video was naturally the popular Thousand Wolves Roar video. Currently, the popularity of this video was very high. It was estimated that there were over 100 billion people in the entire Tianzi continent who had seen this video. The comments below were all about the yearning and desire for battle pets. Taking advantage of the popularity of this advertisement, it was still possible. Wang Xian used his brain to edit it. Title: 3521 Ice-Breaking Wolf Roars. The ice-drilling crocodile mount under the invincible battle technique came from the Dragon Palace's battle pets. The title was accompanied by a video of a group of ice-breaking wolves roaring. There was also a line of text at the bottom of the video. It read, "With the strength of that trash who is invincible in battle techniques, it is impossible for him to defend a city alone." The mount he is riding is from the Dragon Palace's pet shop. There are more than 3,000 ice wolves, and they are also from the Dragon Palace's pet shop. Currently, the Dragon Palace's pet shop was selling all the ice wolves. They were selling a large number of northern howling celestial wolves and selling the level 5 sea monster, Ice Drill Crocodile, the Eternal Lord. With a line of text attached to the video, Wang Xian looked at the price of the promotion. Black, this is really black. If I want to promote the entire Tianzi continent, the divine stones required can be comparable to a level 3 pet of an Eternal Lord. It will be able to increase the number of Eternal Lords in the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian's face was completely black. However, he still decided to put in a lot of effort. As long as this promotion was made public, his Dragon Palace's battlefield would definitely be famous across the Tianzi continent. In the future, when he captured and tamed the sea monster, he would only need to post a message to sell it. It would be extremely convenient. Such a huge promotion was not something that could be done on the AI. In less than half an hour, a middle-aged man came to the Dragon Palace's war pet shop. The middle-aged man was a staff member of the AI and was specifically responsible for the promotion. Since Wang Xian was doing such a large-scale promotion, he naturally had to conduct an offline transaction. Sir, young Master Invincible of Battle Tactics is a peerless heaven's favorite in the land of battle tactics. His status is extraordinary. This term of yours, a him, will anger young Master Invincible of Battle Tactics and make the land of battle tactics unhappy. After discussing everything, the middle-aged man looked at the advertisement that was edited by Wang Xian. He coughed and asked in embarrassment, "It's all right. If there's anything, you can only come to me." Wang Xian waved his hand. If Invincible of Battle Tactics really dared to come to him, he would be happy to do so. Damn it, he didn't even reply to his messages. The next time he saw him, he would know that the one who owed money was the grandson. All right, as long as you insist on doing so, sir, our AI brain will do the same. We will promote the entire AI brain. The duration of the promotion will be 1 day and 2 hours will be given away. In addition, we will also give away some first-class promotions. The middle-aged man nodded his head. After discussing some details, he left immediately. The cost of promoting a promotion at Wang Xian's level was very high. It was not every day that someone would promote it. Therefore, the middle-aged man reported it to the higher-ups on the AI and carried out the promotion very quickly. Wang Xian opened the AI and took a look. Immediately, he saw an advertisement about the Dragon Palace's war pet shop in the more eye-catching part of the AI. The effect of the promotion was very good. In less than 10 minutes, Wang Xian saw that the number of views of the Dragon Palace's war pet shop had reached tens of millions. Moreover, it was increasing at an extremely terrifying speed. Below the Dragon Palace's pet shop, all sorts of information were increasing crazily. Is this for real? Those 3,000 ice wolves came from the Dragon Palace's pet shop. Now, the Dragon Palace's pet shop is going to be sold. I'm here to observe the rich people. It's awesome for a pet shop to carry out such a promotion. Damn, you actually said that your battle techniques are invincible and useless. Shop owner, you're in trouble now. The entire land of battle techniques will not let you off. One by one, the restores appeared below. Especially recently, the popularity of the video of the 1,000 wolves roaring and invincible in terms of battle techniques was extremely high. Now, such a huge advertisement was saying that the invincible in terms of battle techniques was a piece of trash. It was directly selling more than 3,000 ice wolves and saying that the mount of invincible in terms of battle techniques came from a Dragon Palace battle pet. This naturally attracted the attention of countless people. Moreover, this advertisement spread at a crazy speed, not only because of the promotion of the AI, but also because it involved invincible battle style. After all, everyone in the Tianzi continent knew that invincible battle style was a peerless heaven's favorite and was now called trash. When everyone in the land of battle style saw this news, their faces were filled with shock. Some were furious and some cursed, but more experts were slightly shocked. All the experts knew that the invincible young master had the Ice Drill Crocodile, a level 5 Eternal God Lord mount. This Ice Drill Crocodile wasn't given by the Patriarch. When Invincible Battle Technique came back, it was said that he rode the Ice Drill Crocodile to show off to the Patriarch and was thrown out. If it was not given by the Patriarch, then it might really be a Dragon Palace war pet. No, looking at the promotional video, all the experts were almost sure that the Icebreaker Wolf and the Ice Drill Crocodile came from the Dragon Palace war pet. This made many experts feel excited. If the Dragon Palace war pet was really introduced, they also had many Eternal Godlord war pets. How could they not be tempted by such a mount? If they bought dozens of Ice Wolf war pets, the warriors of their families would be able to unite their mounts, and their combat power would be greatly increased. Whether it's true or not, we must go and take a look. They dared to spend such a great price to promote it. It can't be fake. It says that there are hundreds of eternal God Lord level war pets. If it's true, it's crazy. Many experts in the entire natural selection continent were tempted. Some of them immediately rushed to the mysterious sky territory. Chapter 2298. 2298 was a huge hit. The Dragon Palace Pet Shop was a huge hit. Selling more than 3,000 ice wolves was enough to attract countless people, not to mention many eternal God Lord level pets. Countless people from the Tianza continent quickly flew to the heavenly sea island of the mysterious sky territory through the teleportation formation. With such a huge promotion and the scarcity of battle pets, everyone could predict that these battle pets would be sold out soon. First come, first served. You sell pets. Where is your war pet shop? What's its name? At this moment, in the Dragon Palace's war pet shop, Wang Xian looked at the browsing volume on the AI and smiled. At this moment, a message was suddenly sent. He took a look, and it was from a girl from the Xian Tian descendants. Dragon Palace's war pet on the Tianhai Island. Wang Xian replied immediately. Do you have the ice wolves at the peak of the godly state here? At this moment, a middle-aged man suddenly entered the shop and asked Wang Xian. Yes, there are some war pets in the shop. Most of the other shops can't fit them. There is a price on the wall if you want to buy them. Wang Xian looked at the person who came in and said to him, Do you have the northern howling sky wolf's war pets here? Just as Wang Xian finished his sentence, another person came in. Look at the price. He didn't say much and pointed at the wall. The price is not expensive. The price is not expensive. I thought that the price would be more expensive. Give me 2 ice wolves. Where is your boss? When will I help tame them? A middle-aged man asked immediately. 3 days later, tame them according to the order of the buyers. Pay half of the deposit first. Those who don't buy will leave immediately. Those who pay the deposit will leave immediately too. Wang Xian replied indifferently. With a wave of his arm, he carved this sentence on the wall. This? The few people who entered the shop opened their mouths slightly. This service attitude was extremely arrogant. Are you the owner of this shop? Little brother, since you have the money to promote it on the AI, I think you can build a bigger shop. A middle-aged man said bitterly, It's too troublesome. I can barely sell it here. Wang Xian shook his head. Dragon Palace's war pet. Oh my god. Is that war pet shop advertised by the AI yours? Do you really have thousands of ice wolves and war pets at the level of the Eternal Lord? Where are you? Where are you? Why didn't you reply? You rascal, I want to buy a pet. Please reply. While Wang Xian was chatting with the customers who had entered the shop, in a cultivation room in the Xintian Academy, a female student was staring at the AI with a face full of anger. This fellow actually didn't reply after saying one sentence. This fellow was able to kill a level 4 Eternal Lord by force. That war pet of the Dragon Palace might really be his. The girl mumbled to herself. Just now, she was also joking with her sisters in the group chat. She didn't take Wang Xian's message to heart. However, just now, she received a piece of news. That Wang Xian had killed an Eternal Lord level 4 powerhouse. When she heard that, her face was filled with shock. Suddenly, she recalled that Wang Xian had asked them if they wanted to buy a pet. Hence, she asked out of curiosity. However, she didn't expect that it was really the Dragon Palace's war pet. Sisters, big news, big news. Did you see the promotion on the AI? That Dragon Palace's war pet was opened by that Wang Xian. She immediately opened the group chat of her sisters and replied immediately. What? I saw the promotion too. The video directly said that invincible combat techniques are useless. Is the Dragon Palace's war pet shop really his? It can't be, right? The Dragon Palace Pet Shop is advertised with thousands of ice wolves and hundreds of Eternal Master battle pets. It can't really be that guy's pet shop, right? It's possible. I just got the news that that guy killed an Eternal Master level 4 expert in the academy. Maybe this pet shop really belongs to him. What kill an Eternal Master level 4? Well, let's go and have a look. It's on the Sky Sea Island. It's not very far. Me too. Me too. Soon, the whole group became lively. All the girls went to take a look. War pets. Every cultivator wished to have a war pet. There are war pets for sale in the Dragon Palace? In front of the pitch-black ocean, the sounds of battle and the wailing of heaven and earth could be heard endlessly. In a command room in front of the battlefield, a girl was sitting there. She was wearing blue armor, and her hair was tied up. She looked like a woman. She looked at the information on the AI and was pleasantly surprised. She immediately stood up. Last time, she didn't manage to buy a war pet. This time, she hoped that she could buy a good mount. Is that the guy who opened the pet shop? At this moment, she suddenly saw the group of girls chatting on the AI. Her eyes were filled with shock. Then, she looked at the message sent by Wang Xian. Her eyes sparkled. She opened the AI and saw the message sent by Wang Xian. However, she didn't want to bother with it at all. Commander Xian, the general just gave an order. He said that we should go to the Dragon Palace to buy the ice-breaking wolf. It would be best if we could buy all of them. At this moment, a young man walked in and said to the girl with a smile on his face, "Good, I want to buy a war pet too." The girl immediately stood up and walked out. "Umbrella, do you want to buy a war pet? I heard that the Dragon Palace's war pet has the ice drill alligator of the 5th level of the Eternal Godlord. How about buying the ice drill alligator for me?" At this moment, a middle-aged man walked in and said to the girl with a smile on his face. The middle-aged man looked at her with a hint of admiration in his eyes. "There's no need. I can't control my level 5 Master God. I'll buy it myself." The lady shook her head coldly and led the young man out immediately. The middle-aged man frowned slightly and followed behind him hurriedly. Countless experts were rushing towards the Sky Sea Island from all directions. At this moment, the Dragon Palace's pet shop was already packed with people. Wang Xian looked at the small shop which was filled with people and frowned slightly. Those who enter the shop for 2 minutes without buying will leave immediately. Those who come later, line up one by one. Wang Xian walked to the entrance and shouted at everyone. At the same time, he waved his arm and a sign immediately appeared in front of the door. A few big words were written on the sign. Those who did not buy would leave immediately. Be it the sign at the entrance or the notice in the room, they were all extremely arrogant. This young man is the boss. I have to say, he is really arrogant to the extreme. Our customer is simply a grandson. The shop owner is the boss. You can leave directly if you don't want to buy it. Since he is able to promote it on the AI, he must have the capital to be arrogant. It's a war pet, and the price is also so affordable. Some people looked at the signboard that Wang Xian had set up and whispered among themselves. Chapter 2299. 2299 Rule 2299. What's going on? There's a line? Oh my god, there are so many eternal godlords. The Dragon Palace pet shop is crazy. Even eternal godlords are lining up outside. In the second hour after the artificial intelligence was promoted, more than 10 people were lining up outside the Dragon Palace pet shop. These people were all eternal godlords. As for those who wanted to join in the fun, they could only look around and didn't dare to line up. The scene on the streets of Tianhai Island also caused countless people to be shocked. There are so many people, but they still have to line up. The Dragon Palace pet shop is too small. At this moment, 3 or 4 girls came to the front of the Dragon Palace pet shop and looked at the experts who were lining up in front of the shop in surprise. He didn't reply to our messages. One girl pouted in dissatisfaction. Come, let's go in and take a look. That guy might be too busy. A girl said and walked into the shop. We know the boss inside. A girl looked at the dozens of experts in line and said with a smile, Miss Xin, it doesn't matter even if you cut the line. A middle-aged man recognized them and said with a smile. Several girls smiled and immediately walked into the shop. As soon as they reached the entrance, they saw 20 to 30 people in the shop. Without hesitation, they immediately walked into the shop. Line up at the back. Don't you see the rules? However, when they entered the shop, a cold voice entered their ears, causing their bodies to stiffen. When they looked inside, they saw a young man staring at them coldly. It was that guy. The four of them opened their mouths slightly and revealed furious expressions. This guy actually made them line up at the back. Looking at his appearance, it seemed like he didn't recognize them. At the back, the experts who were lining up were slightly stunned and showed a stunned expression. This boss actually made several girls from the mysterious sky descendant line up. Their identities were equivalent to princesses in the mysterious sky territory. Even experts like them had to be polite when they met these few people. "You rascal, you asked us if we wanted to buy pets. Now that we're here, you actually made us queue up?" A girl stared at Wang Xian angrily and shouted directly, "I called you guys." Wang Xian revealed a hint of doubt in his eyes. He sized up the four of them and felt that they were somewhat familiar. "Oh, so it's you guys. Come in and take a look. If you want to buy them, hurry up. If you don't, please leave quickly." Wang Xian said directly to them, "You." Upon hearing Wang Xian's words, the four girls were stunned again. A hint of anger appeared on their faces. What kind of attitude was this? When the other boys treated them, which one of them wasn't eager to please them? This guy. Wang Xian ignored the four girls as well. Initially, he thought that he could buy some war pets with the help of the girls' contact information and help him promote himself. In the end, he sent a message to them, but no one replied to him. The only one replied after a long time. Now, Wang Xian didn't need the girls from the mysterious heavens descendants to buy them anymore. The advertisement had already been advertised, and it wouldn't be long before all the war pets in his hands could be sold. When the four girls saw that Wang Xian ignored them, they were furious again. They looked around and saw the price and the notice on the wall. Their faces turned black again. This guy is too arrogant. He's so arrogant even when selling war pets. A girl said in a low voice, "Do you guys want to buy war pets? We can't control the eternal lord level ones. It's not a big problem for us to control the ice-breaking wolves that are at the peak of the godly state." "I don't like ice-breaking wolves." The four girls chatted in a low voice. They frowned slightly when they saw the customers walking over to Wang Xian to pay the deposit. This was completely different from what they had expected. The other party didn't put them in his eyes at all. He even almost let them in. The four girls looked at the notice on the wall that said if they didn't buy the war pets within 2 minutes, they should leave immediately. They looked at each other. "HMPH, get out," one of the girls said, while the other three left in a huff. When the four of them walked out of the door and saw that there were 5 or 6 more people lining up outside, they became even angrier. "There are actually so many experts lining up?" One of the girls muttered, feeling a little unhappy in her heart. The number of people lining up increased. At first, there were only a dozen or so people, but now, in less than a few minutes, there were already more than 20 people. More and more people rushed over. At this moment, more than 10 people in front of them suddenly flew over on giant swords. They were all wearing the same white clothes, and there was a picture of a sharp sword embroidered on their chests. The group of people was emitting a sharp sword light. The more than 10 people's momentum was like a rainbow, and they directly fell toward the door, completely ignoring everyone around them. This is a person from the sword realm. He's an expert from the sword realm. The middle-aged man in the lead has mastered at least 7 or 8 laws. The dozen or so people landed in front of the Dragon Palace's mount and looked around proudly. The experts who were queuing up looked at them in surprise and disgust in low voices. Clap, clap. The dozen or so people raised their heads and looked at the Dragon Palace's mount in front of them with a smile on their faces. "I want an ice-breaking wolf," a young man said eagerly. "Let's go." The rest of the people smiled. The middle-aged man in the middle said indifferently and walked straight in. He completely ignored the signboard at the door. At the back, the Eternal Masters frowned slightly. However, no one said anything. They couldn't afford to provoke the sword domain. "Are you blind? Line up outside." Wang Xian saw a group of more than a dozen people entering the shop. The small shop instantly became crowded. He frowned and said coldly, "Kid, who are you talking to?" A young man heard his words and immediately turned around. His eyes revealed a hint of coldness. "Either line up or get lost." Wang Xian stared at the young man and shouted coldly, "You!" The young man's face turned red and looked slightly ferocious. He glared at Wang Xian with anger. "Young man, We are from the Sword Domain. We heard that the Dragon Palace's war pets are here to purchase a batch of war pets. The middle-aged man in the middle frowned and waved at the young man as he said indifferently, "If you want to buy a pet, then line up. I don't care where you guys are from. If you don't want to buy one, then get lost." Wang Xian didn't give the middle-aged man a good look either. He snorted coldly. The reputation of the Dragon Palace's pet shop had already been made known. The rules had to be made known as well. Otherwise, it would be troublesome if everyone had no rules. "Call your boss over." The middle-aged man's face darkened when he heard Wang Xian's words. Streams of sword rays appeared around his body. "Boss, I want a northern howling skywolf." At this moment, an old man walked to Wang Xian's side and looked at the people from the Sword Domain. "All right." Wang Xian nodded his head and looked at the middle-aged man. "If you don't scram, don't even think about buying one." "Boss?" The middle-aged man's expression changed, and he looked a little embarrassed. Sword radiance flashed in his eyes. Chapter 2300. 2300 overbearing boss. Is he the boss of this place? The people from the Sword Domain looked extremely embarrassed as they stared at Wang Xian. They didn't expect this arrogant young man to be the boss. "I'll give you 3 seconds," Wang Xian said to them indifferently. "You." The young man held the sharp sword in his hand tightly. His face was filled with anger. "Go out and line up." The middle-aged man in the middle had a gloomy expression. He growled and turned around to walk out. "Boss, you are really awesome. You even dared to chase out the experts from the Sword Domain." "Boss, you are really impressive. The ones who were chased out just now were a few princesses from our Xian heaven. Now, there are a few experts from the Sword Domain." In the shop, some of the experts smiled when they saw how powerful Wang Xian was. Wang Xian smiled faintly. Other people had their backers, but he also had his own backers. Who was afraid of him? The people from the Sword Domain are out. They were chased out. They were so arrogant just now and were chased out by the shop owner. This shop owner is really powerful. These experts from the Sword Domain didn't give him any face at all. Since the shop owner is able to promote it so widely and has so many war pets, why would he be afraid of the Sword Domain? If they don't buy it, more people will buy it. Outside the shop, the experts were gloating when they saw the people from the Sword Domain being kicked out. When they first came here, they knew a little about the arrogance of the shop owner. They would buy the battle pets as soon as they entered the shop. If they didn't buy them, they would get lost. They were not dissatisfied with the shop owner's attitude. At least the battle pets in the Dragon Palace pet shop were indeed cheaper. And they had many pets. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, a flying machine flew over at an extremely fast speed in the sky. The flying machine was 10 meters in size, and it was emitting a dazzling metallic light. It's the 5th generation of the Heaven's Choice Fighter Jet. The Heaven's Choice Fighter Jet? Only the elites of the Tianzi mainland government can own a fighter jet. The arrival of the flying machine attracted the attention of many people. Looking at the 10-meter-long, dazzling fighter jet, everyone's faces revealed a look of shock. The 5th generation of the natural selection fighter jet, the fighter jet exclusive to the strong. A middle-aged man flew down from the fighter jet and landed directly on the ground. His gaze swept across the Dragon Palace's war pet shop. He frowned slightly and took the initiative to walk towards the back. The group of strong people looked at the middle-aged man with a hint of fear in their eyes. Although they did not know this middle-aged man, they could be sure that he was a strong person. In the Tianzi continent, before the 4 major factions rose to power, they had their own federal government. After the 4 major factions rose to power, they occupied all corners of the continent. They still supported the former federal government, the former royal family, and the AI was controlled by the government. All the technology was provided by the government. The middle-aged man stood at the back of the line without saying a word. The people from the front line of the Black Sea are here. Hiss. I didn't expect that the soldiers from the front line of the mysterious sky territory would also come to buy. A voice suddenly sounded, and some people looked toward the road. 2 old men, a middle-aged man, and a beautiful woman in blue armor were walking toward them. They were dressed in military uniforms, and they could be recognized at a glance. The smell of blood was obvious that they were all powerhouses. A group of people strolled over and walked straight into the shop. When they saw the people lining up at the entrance of the shop, they were slightly stunned. So many people are actually lining up. The people lining up in front of us seem to be from the sword domain. They actually came to our shop to buy war pets? The middle-aged man at the front revealed a look of surprise in his eyes. His gaze then looked at the fighter jets in the sky, and the surprise on his face grew even more intense. It's normal. If we can buy those thousands of Ice Wolf packs and buy more than 10 Eternal Godlord war pets, this can also be considered a considerable increase in strength. The old man at the side said indifferently. Are we also queuing up? According to me, we will directly requisition them. If we requisition the Beast Tamer Masters here, that would be even better. The corner of the middle-aged man's mouth curled up slightly as he said indifferently, I advise you to give up on this idea. The woman in blue armor looked at him coldly. If the boss here was really that young man, then this young man had a very deep relationship with Xiantian. Umbrella, recruiting him will be very beneficial to our front line. The middle-aged man said to the woman with a smile. Should we go in directly or queue up? An elder frowned slightly and said, Go in directly, General. If the sword domain and the Federation buy too much, we won't have any share. This is our mysterious sky domain. The middle-aged man directly suggested, Go in. I know the boss here. The blue-armored woman hesitated for a moment and said, All right, let's go. The group of people did not hesitate and walked straight in. At the side, the middle-aged man from the Federation and the people from the sword domain looked over and frowned slightly. The people from the front line of the mysterious sky domain are here. We might not be able to buy much. The young man from the sword domain said with a dark expression. The people beside him also had ugly expressions. They would be chased out, but the people from the mysterious sky domain might not be chased out. The other party was a frontline soldier from the mysterious sky domain. The people now either have problems with their brains or their eyes. Can't they see the huge words at the door? However, just as the people around watched the soldiers walk in, a voice suddenly came from inside. Everyone outside the door was stunned, including the experts who were queuing up. The few soldiers who came to the door were also stunned. Their expressions changed. The lady in blue armor was also stunned. She looked inside. Wang Xian was also looking outside. His expression didn't change at all. There were already enough people in the room. There were even people who thought they were awesome and cut the queue to enter. They didn't even put him in their eyes. Wang Xian, are we here to purchase war pets? The lady in blue armor took a deep breath and said to Wang Xian, You know me? Wang Xian saw the lady in blue armor calling out his name. A hint of doubt flashed across his eyes. Who are you? Who are you? When the lady in blue armor heard Wang Xian's words, her face immediately turned gloomy. He actually didn't recognize her. Her face changed. The two old men at the side also looked at the lady in blue armor with slight astonishment. Didn't Commander Xian know her? Now, this was a slap to his face. We are soldiers from the Black Sea frontline and wish to purchase a batch of war pets. When the middle-aged man saw Wang Xian's expression, his face turned cold as he said coldly, Do you see the words at the door? When Wang Xian heard his words, he pointed at the door and spoke coldly. The middle-aged man opened his mouth. Do you want me to say get lost? Before he could speak, Wang Xian continued to speak coldly. Let's go. The lady in blue armor walked back with a sullen face. She didn't have the face to force herself to go in. The others didn't even know her, yet she was going to be slapped in the face. She gave Wang Xian a cold glance and walked towards the back. Chapter 2301. 2301 was sold for offending others. Everyone was stunned when they saw the woman in blue armor lining up behind them with a cold face. This female commander seems to be the current princess. Commander Xian the most powerful woman in the mysterious sky territory. She's not very old now and has already broken through to the Eternal Godlord realm. She's a little weaker than the invincible talent in battle techniques in the land of battle techniques. This boss is too domineering. The people from the sword domain have been chased out. Even Commander Xian and the rest have been chased out. We have to follow the rules. Some of the experts looked at the entrance of the shop in shock. When the two elders saw that Xian and had gone to line up with a bad expression, they also frowned and went back to line up. When the middle-aged man saw how embarrassed she looked, his eyes revealed a cold expression. He stared at Wang Xian with a cold gaze. He licked his tongue and smiled sinisterly. Then, he walked out. When they saw this scene, the people from the sword domain were stunned. They didn't expect that this shop dared to chase out experts from the Xian Heaven domain. What the fuck? Was this shop so arrogant and overbearing? The people who were chased out just now were in a much better mood now. The cold expressions of the people from the sword domain also eased up a bit. This is the Dragon Palace's pet shop. This is it. At this moment, another major force arrived. More than 10 people were wearing the same clothes, and the word fight was written on their chests. The people from the land of combat have also come. Many powerful forces have come for these pets. I didn't expect there to be so many experts. At this moment, there were already thousands of people surrounding them. When they saw the experts from the land of combat techniques rushing over, their faces were filled with shock. A Dragon Palace battle pet attracted so many people. I'll buy this later. The experts in the front line saw the experts from the Federation, the sword domain experts, and the frontline soldiers of the mysterious sky. Now, the land of combat techniques was here again. In the entire Tianzi continent, 3 of the 4 major powers had come, and the Central Federation had also come. Only one had not come. The experts in the line had bitter expressions on their faces. They still did not want to participate in the purchase of battle pets. An Eternal God Lord expert immediately left. The other experts also smiled bitterly and followed him out. You want to line up? The people from the land of battle techniques looked over and swept their eyes over the people in the line. They were slightly surprised, but they did not directly go over. Instead, they walked to the back. The individual experts who were in line at the front had all left. The middle-aged man from the Federation was at the front, followed by the expert from the sword domain. Behind them were Xian Umbrella and the rest of the experts from the land of combat arts. Wang Xian's gaze swept across the outside. In fact, Wang Xian still had some impression of Xian Umbrella. Among the group of girls the last time, she was the only one who had reached the level of Eternal God Lord. However, he had sent her a message and didn't reply to her. Now, he even wanted to come in directly. Who do you think you are? And you think I, Wang Xian, am a dog-eater. Therefore, he deliberately ignored that girl. It wasn't that Wang Xian was narrow-minded. No matter what others did to him, he would do the same to others. Boss, we will come back in 3 days. Let's go out. I didn't expect so many powerhouses to come. The group of Eternal Lord powerhouses in the shop also smiled bitterly when they saw the 4 forces that were queuing outside. They hurriedly paid the deposit and walked out. With so many forces, they did not dare to stay here any longer. After the group of people left, the entire shop quickly became empty. The 4 forces that were queuing outside immediately walked in. The first one to enter was the middle-aged man. After entering the shop, he walked straight towards Wang Xian. Little brother. The middle-aged man walked over with a smile on his face. I saw the message you sent me, but I was too busy to reply in time. The middle-aged man was the one who came after Wang Xian sold all his battle pets last time. After the last battle pets were sold out, the 2 of them left their contact details. What war pets do you want? Wang Xian smiled at the middle-aged man. This middle-aged man left a deep impression on him. He was very strong and had comprehended 7 to 8 laws. He could be considered to be quite polite. Wang Xian had a good impression of this middle-aged man. How many war pets do you have here? The middle-aged man's eyes flickered as he asked directly. I sold some. Currently, I still have 3,511 Ice Wolves, 8 Eternal Lord Level 1, 95 North Howl Sirius Level 2, and 1 each at Level 3, 4, and 5. Wang Xian said directly to the middle-aged man. There are actually 95 Northern Howling Wolves. There are both Level 3 and Level 4, Level 5 Eternal Lord level. Upon hearing Wang Xian's words, everyone from the sword domain, the battlefield, and the front line of the mysterious sky revealed a look of shock. It was just as what the AI had said. However, even though they were mentally prepared, they were still shocked, especially the 95 northern howling wolves. These over 3,000 ice wolves were already so imposing when they stood in a row. How imposing was it when 95 northern howling sky wolves, who were at the second level of the Eternal Lord, stood in a row. The breathing of the people around them was a little hurried. The middle-aged man's eyes were also burning with passion. "Little brother, I represent the Federation and want all of your battle pets," the middle-aged man said without any hesitation. "Huh, you want all of them?" Wang Xian was slightly taken aback when he heard his words. He asked immediately, "All of them? Aren't you asking for a lion? Our sword domain wants 1,000 ice-breaking wolves and 20 northern howling sky wolves. Our land of combat arts wants 2,000 ice-breaking wolves and 40 northern howling sky wolves." Before the middle-aged man could reply, the people from the land of combat arts and the sword domain immediately spoke up. All of them had cold expressions on their faces. "I want all of them. Can you sell them?" The middle-aged man glanced at the people beside him and asked Wang Xian, "Sure. You didn't manage to buy them when you came to buy them last time. This time, you can buy them first. As long as you want all of them, I'll sell them all to you." Wang Xian promised directly. "All right, I'll take all of them. I know the rules here. I've prepared a portion of the elixirs. It might not be enough now, but the deposit is enough. I'll give you the rest of the elixirs when you tame your battle pets." The middle-aged man revealed a smile. It was obvious that he had come prepared. However, he thought that Wang Xian didn't have so many battle pets this time, so he didn't bring enough elixirs. However, the deposit was more or less enough. "Haha, good, that's cool." Wang Xian was full of smiles as he nodded immediately. This time, he saved himself a lot of time. On the other hand, the soldiers at the sword domain, the battlefield, and the front line of the mysterious sky were all stunned when they saw that they had completed the transaction. It seemed that they had queued up and didn't manage to get any battle pets after entering. All of them were bought by others. Even Xian Umbrella was stunned. With so many battle pets, be it the ice wolves that were suitable for the warriors at the front line or the northern howling sky wolf, they were all excellent battle pets. Now that all of them were sold out, they could not get a single one. This made her face extremely ugly. The rest of them also did not look good. Chapter 2302. 2302-2302 had offended someone and sold all of them. You sold all of your battle pets to one party and made us wait here for so long." The middle-aged man beside Xian Umbrella looked at the middle-aged man from the Federation who was buying all the battle pets. When he saw that the Dragon Palace's battle pet owner had agreed, his face revealed an angry expression. They were the soldiers at the front line of the mysterious sky territory. Not only were they chased out just now, but now they were lining up to come in. All of their battle pets had been bought by one person. Especially these battle pets, they were extremely envious. How could they be willing to leave just like that? "We are waiting here from all directions. Let's not talk about anything else. At the very least, we should split it evenly." The middle-aged man who was the leader of the sword territory also stared coldly at Wang Xian. His eyes were a little cold. "That's right, Wang Xian. This is not how you do business." Xian Umbrella also chimed in from the side with a gloomy face. Everyone stared at Wang Xian in unison. Their eyes were filled with displeasure. "Everyone, you can't blame the boss for this. The last time I came here, all of them were sold out. You can wait for the next time. The royal family of the Federation is preparing to build a war beast army. Everyone, please give us some face." The middle-aged man from the Federation saw the displeasure from the other three factions and spoke to them indifferently. "We will naturally give face to the royal family of the Federation. However, we have to give face too. Let's not talk about other things. We have traveled so far and didn't even get a single one. Are we willing to do that? Will the others be willing to do that?" An elder from the land of combat arts took a glance at the middle-aged man from the Federation and spoke indifferently. I didn't ask you guys to come over. Wang Xian heard his words and spoke indifferently. He didn't ask anyone to come over and beg them to buy battle pets. They came here on their own. You. The old man from the land of battle techniques instantly looked embarrassed. He stared at Wang Xian coldly. Little brother, you promoted it on the AI. We have yet to find an explanation for the fact that the peerless heavens favorites of our land of battle techniques are invincible in their battle techniques and are useless. The invincible in battle techniques is the rising star in the land of battle techniques. Not everyone can insult him. As the old man spoke, a majestic aura was brewing in his body. HMPH, how can our invincible young master be insulted by just anyone? Furthermore, he is slandering us without any scruples. Behind the old man, a young man was also staring at Wang Xian coldly. His eyes were filled with coldness. Wang Xian had openly declared that his battle techniques were invincible in such a large-scale promotion. This had already aroused the dissatisfaction of many people in the land of battle techniques. This was especially so for the supporters of the land of battle techniques who were invincible in battle techniques. At this moment, they were already spouting nonsense in the comments section of the Dragon Palace's War Pet Shop in the Artificial Intelligence Department. It was just that Wang Xian didn't look at the Artificial Intelligence Department for a while. The other factions were slightly stunned when they saw this scene. They naturally knew that the Dragon Palace's war pet had openly declared that its battle techniques were invincible and that it was useless. They naturally understood the identity of being invincible in battle techniques. It was fine if they didn't argue with the land of battle techniques, but once they did, the others wouldn't say anything either. After all, the land of battle techniques killed him first, so who would dare to stand up for him? It's fine if you don't say that the land of battle techniques is stupid, but since you're so familiar with the land of battle techniques, then fine, give me back the 15 Tier 5 Eternal Godlord pills that he owes me. Damn it, not only is he in debt for the ice drill croc that I sold him, he didn't reply when I sent him a message. It seems like he's trying to renege on his debt. If you guys can contact him and ask him to send me the elixirs, or you guys can give them to me. Wang Xian saw the anger on the faces of the few of them at the battle tactics ground. They were even gathering their aura. A look of disdain appeared in his eyes. That guy who is invincible in battle tactics still owes me money. Why are you guys standing up for him and acting arrogantly in front of me? Everyone from the land of battle tactics was stunned. The aura on their bodies disappeared instantly. Some of them looked at each other in dismay. Come. If any of you can contact Invincible in battle tactics, it's fine even if you can't contact his family. Wang Xian continued to speak to them. This time, the people from the land of battle technique were speechless. They felt extremely awkward at this moment. They never expected Invincible battle technique to owe the Dragon Palace's war pet money. They were so arrogant that they wanted to avenge young Master Invincible. However, he didn't care about them at all, and even asked for the debt with disdain. Damn it, this was so embarrassing. The atmosphere suddenly became strange. The rest of the people also looked at the people from the battlefield in astonishment. We are not clear about this matter, but if Invincible owes you medicinal pills, we will definitely pay you back. We definitely won't owe you anything. The old man from the battlefield said with a slightly red face. Next time, if you have a battle pet, please inform us in advance. A middle-aged man next to the land of battle tactics said and looked at his own people. They had slipped away. Yes, they had left. They had never thought that it would be so awkward. Does Invincible really owe him pills? 15 Eternal God Lord level pills. That's not a small amount. It's really possible. Invincible's mount was not given by the Patriarch, nor could it be tamed by him. He could only buy it. Although he has money, he can't afford to buy a level 5 Eternal God Lord mount. He probably owes money. As the people from the land of battle techniques walked, they were discussing in low voices. They didn't represent the entire land of battle techniques to buy war pets. They were just a combat division that represented the land of battle techniques. Could it be that they were really paying back money for the Invincible battle techniques? If they didn't pay back money, they would understand the virtue of the Invincible battle techniques. The people from the land of battle techniques walked out of the shop and looked at the sword domain and mysterious sky frontline soldiers with gloomy expressions. Please give us some face too. The middle-aged man from the Federation heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that there was one less faction. He cupped his hands at the soldiers from the sword domain and the front line of the mysterious sky territory. If the Dragon Palace's war pet gets another pet next time, I'll inform all of you in advance. Wang Xian said calmly from the side. All right. The people from the sword domain hesitated for a moment. They didn't make a fuss anymore and turned around to leave. Little brother, you sold your war pets on the Sky Sea Island. At the very least, you are a member of the Xian Heaven Domain. We should help our own people. The two generals from the Xian Heaven Domain were unwilling to leave the Sword Domain in the land of battle techniques. Just as he said, the people from the Xian Heaven Domain wanted to help the Xian Heaven Domain. I'm late. There's nothing I can do. Wang Xian looked at the old man and said indifferently, This is Xian Tian's territory. It's our territory. The middle-aged man beside him said with a cold expression, Oh, why? Do you still want to snatch it from me? The corners of Wang Xian's mouth curled up slightly as he looked at the old man in disdain. If you still have battle pets next time, please inform us in advance. Xian An said to Wang Xian expressionlessly before turning around and leaving. Let's talk about it later. The attitude of some of you here is not good. Wang Xian looked at the middle-aged man beside him and said sarcastically. Xian Umbrella paused and continued walking forward. Kid, this is the territory of Xian Heaven. This is Xian Heaven's territory. The middle-aged man at the side heard Wang Xian's words. He stared at him coldly and said, Scram. Wang Xian looked at him and said disdainfully, You. His expression changed. When he saw that the general and the rest had left, he clenched his fists slightly and revealed a sinister smile. Then, he turned around and left. Chapter 2303 2303, 2303 forcefully requisitioned it. Little brother, thank you so much. You've offended some people. If you have any difficulties, you can come to the Federation. With your ability, the Federation and the royal family will not treat you unfairly. Seeing the other factions leaving one by one, the middle-aged man from the Federation said to Wang Xian, Hee, it's nothing. I have my own rules when I open my shop. Otherwise, whoever is stronger will be able to buy my items. What does that make me, the boss? Since you are here to buy a war pet from me, you have to follow my rules. Wang Xian shook his head. He did not care about them at all. Wang Xian had sent Xian En a message in advance when she wanted to buy a war pet. It was a pity that the other party did not reply. There was 1 to 2 hours before the promotion. If she came over during this period and wanted to buy a war pet, Wang Xian could sell all of them to her. He wouldn't be promoting them either. In fact, when Xian Umbrella saw Wang Xian's message, she didn't pay much attention to it at that time. Later on, when she saw the words of the girls in the group, she realized that the war pets of the Dragon Palace belonged to Wang Xian. Unfortunately, it was too late. Hee, little brother, you really have a personality. Let me introduce myself. My name is Fugua. This is the deposit. Take a look. Fugua smiled when he heard Wang Xian's words. He took out his interspatial ring and handed it to Wang Xian. All right. Wang Xian nodded. This was a big deal. Can you go to the Central Royal Family to help with the taming? Fugua hesitated for a moment before asking him. I'm worried. I think it's better to stay here. Wang Xian shook his head. He was really worried about going to other places. He didn't know much about the Fu Nation and the Federation and the royal family. In the Xian Heaven Domain, it was relatively safer. Once something happened, Xian Tianzi would take action. Hee, it's unnecessary for you to worry, little brother. However, I respect you too. I'll bring him here. Fugua smiled and said, All right, I'll be fine for the next 2 days. Wang Xian nodded. It's about the day after tomorrow. Let's contact each other then. Fugua confirmed the time. Damn that guy. He didn't give us any face at all. Who is that guy? Outside the Dragon Palace's pet shop, a middle-aged soldier from the front line of the mysterious sky walked out and said with a cold face, We know who he is. To be able to get so many battle pets, he is indeed not simple. An old man raised his eyebrows and said slowly, "Unfortunately, if we can get these war pets, our strength will increase a lot. But the people of the mysterious sky territory won't sell them to us." Humph. Another old man snorted with slight displeasure. "Let's wait for the next time." Last time, the Dragon Palace's war pets were able to get 20 to 30 sea monsters. This time, we got so many war pets. Next time, there might be more. Let's pay more attention to the situation here. Shin Umbrella said with a thoughtful look. That's all we can do. I think that kid's aura isn't weak. He seems to have mastered 5 laws. It's been a long time since such a powerful beast tamer master appeared in the Tianza continent. The elder next to him sighed slightly. 5 laws. General Chu, are you sure? The middle-aged man's eyes were shining. I can't be wrong. I am very accurate in judging people. His aura is so young that it is somewhat strange. I don't know what the reason is. The old man who was called General Chu had a thoughtful look on his face. The group of people did not say anything else and directly flew toward the front line of the Black Sea. Returning to the front line, the 2 old generals left, and Shin Umbrella also returned to her temporary residence. Today, she had been slapped in the face. Over 3,000 ice wolves, over 90 northern howling sky wolves, and a group of Tier 3, Tier 4, and even Tier 5 battle pets. If I can become a mount, the strength of my subordinates can be greatly increased. I can even make many people become my subordinates. When that time comes, my general can look forward to it. The middle-aged man watched as they left one by one, floating in the sky. His eyes flickered with a cold luster. However, General Chu said that that fellow has mastered 5 laws, and his strength is the same as mine. Although beast tamers are relatively weak, he still has an ice drill crocodile. I need to find a few people. No, I can't find too many. 2 is enough, or else I'll split some of the benefits. The middle-aged man muttered, and his body moved, immediately flying toward the front line. Yong Xingping, are you serious? Are there really so many war pets? In a room on the front line of the Black Sea, a middle-aged man stared at Yong Xingping with shock written all over his face. How could I lie to you? The war pets of the Dragon Palace, the one that the AI is promoting, that kid didn't know what was good for him and sold all of his war pets to the royal family of the Federation. Yong Xingping narrowed his eyes, which were full of coldness. Are you asking me to join you to rob? The middle-aged man looked at him with sparkling eyes. This is the territory of the Mysterious Sky Clan, the territory of the Mysterious Sky Clan. We are the soldiers on the front line and have great power. We can forcibly enlist soldiers when necessary. Yong Xingping smiled, as if victory was in his hands. Ha ha ha, you are really cunning. However, according to what I said, if we requisition people together, we can contribute to the front line when necessary. Even the outside world cannot say anything. The middle-aged man laughed, his eyes shining with sharpness. Requisition people? Let's talk about that later. Let's first requisition the war pets. At most, we can give them some divine pills. Yong Xingping raised his eyebrows and shook his head. What's there to be afraid of? We're fighting the sea monsters at the front line. What's the big deal if we recruit one person? At most, we can show our respect to the generals. The middle-aged man did not care at all. This was also why Yong Xingping had called him along. He was brave enough and could be said to be a thorn in the side. However, this guy was highly valued by a general. We'll see when the time comes. Yong Xingping smiled. Bring some people over. Do we need to inform the law enforcement department? No need. Let's kill him first and report later. The middle-aged man shook his head. He did not ask about the identity and background of the pet owner of the Dragon Palace. It was not that he was stupid, but that he did not care. As the front line of the Mysterious Sky Territory and the sea monsters, the Black Sea front line had many experts and great power. Not to mention the others, the general overseeing this place was a peak eternal god-lord existence. There was another identity, the descendant of the mysterious sky. The experts who had received the guidance of the dean were also ranked in the top 5 in the entire Mysterious Sky Territory. Although they had selfish motives in obtaining so many war pets, most of them were still given to their subordinates. The promotion of their own subordinates was equivalent to the promotion of the soldiers on the front lines. When that time came, even if the general knew that they were against the rules, he would turn a blind eye to it. We might not be able to obtain high-level war pets, but we can still obtain one for each of the northern howling skywolves. The rest will be given to the other brothers. When that time comes, the position of general. Yong Xingping looked at him and narrowed his eyes slightly. Haha, let's go. Another middle-aged man laughed wildly and flew out. Chapter 2304 2304 2304 Forcibly requisitioned. Commanderly, when the time comes, can each of us brothers have a powerful battle pet? In the sky, a group of more than 1,000 people were wearing uniform armor and flying with a strong, murderous aura. In the front, more than 10 middle-aged men looked at the two leaders with smiles on their faces and asked with smiles, "No matter what, we should give each of us a battle pet this time. For those below the god level, each of you will have a peak stage god level ice wolf. The dozen of you can all get a level 1 eternal godlord battle pet." Yong Xingping's lips curled up slightly as he promised indifferently, "Haha, then we'll thank Commander Yong in advance. Do we need to make a move then?" Everyone's faces were burning with excitement. A war pet of the first rank of an eternal godlord was even worth some eternal godlords risking their lives for. If that guy dares to resist, then we'll make a move directly. However, he won't dare to be ignored. Commander Li said indifferently. As he spoke, he looked at Yong Xingping. This time, we have to be careful. Don't let him escape. If he does, it'll be troublesome. It was too easy for the Eternal God Master to escape. Even if it was a group of them, they wouldn't be able to stop a God Master who wanted to escape. This is indeed troublesome. However, it's also easy for him. Let someone provoke him first. With that guy's character, he should attack. After injuring our people, we can directly put him on the wanted list. Yong Xingping's eyes were shining. I'm not afraid of anything else. I'm just afraid that when the time comes, he will directly agree to requisition them. However, if he asks us for the divine pills, then we might not be able to take them by force. We will have to pay for the divine pills. Following that, he continued to say, "So be it. No matter what, we must get our hands on these war pets." A determined look appeared in Commander Li's eyes. They had to get their hands on this batch of war pets. Even if they had to buy them with divine flower stones, it would be very beneficial to them. This was their contribution. Of course, if that fellow did not know what was good for him, that would be even better. Perhaps they would only have to pay a small price to get all the war pets. As the two of them spoke, they looked at each other. The experts around them licked their tongues, their eyes full of excitement. More than 10 Eternal Lord-level soldiers and more than 1,000 warriors who had ignited 7 or 8 wisps of divine fire. This power was very strong. They flew to the Sky Sea Island, landed on the ground, and walked in the direction of the Dragon Palace's war pet shop in an orderly manner. They were all wearing armor, and one could tell that they were experts from the front line at a glance. Their strong, murderous aura was awe-inspiring. It's the warriors of the Black Sea. What are they doing here? Some people looked at them and discussed in low voices. They're right in front. Yong Xingping stared at the front, and the corners of his mouth curled up as he said to Commander Li beside him, "Warriors of the front line of the Black Sea, lock down the war pets of the Dragon Palace for me." Commander Li raised his head slightly and ordered all the warriors behind him. Yes. A warrior's eyes glittered as he moved. Boom, boom, boom. A powerful aura rose from their bodies and immediately flew toward the Dragon Palace's war pets. They sealed the war pets in all directions. The sudden arrival of the frontline warriors sealed a shop, which immediately shocked everyone in the surroundings. What happened? Are there fugitives here? Hiss, the frontline warriors of the Black Sea are here. Who are they dealing with? They sealed off the war pets of the Dragon Palace. What's going on? The frontline warriors are here to seal off the war pets of the Dragon Palace. What did they do? Everyone around widened their eyes and watched. General Xin Tian, take care of things. Those who are idle, retreat. Yong Xingping shouted, and a powerful force spread out in the surroundings. Retreat. Everyone around quickly retreated to the surroundings. Even some of the shop owners closed their doors immediately and hid behind them. The soldiers at the front line guarded the entire Xian Heaven domain. They had great authority. When they saw that they had sealed the Dragon Palace's war pets, everyone was astonished. The Dragon Palace's war pets were currently in the limelight. At this moment, Wang Xian, who was in the Dragon Palace's war pet shop, was sitting cross-legged and cultivating. His dragon energy had already reached the level where he could advance to the Eternal Lord. However, as the Dragon Palace had yet to level up, its level couldn't be raised. This made him feel a little helpless. After killing the woman with the metal attribute, the Dragon Palace was now devouring the Divine Kingdom, which had gold, fire, earth, thunder, water, and darkness. The water attribute was the nest of a water attribute sea monster that had been devoured not long ago. Now, there were only 3 attributes left. As long as he devoured these 3 attributes, the Dragon Palace would be able to upgrade, and he would be able to upgrade to the level of the Eternal Divine Lord. The commotion outside immediately attracted Wang Xian's attention. This caused him to frown slightly. Bang! Before he could leave, the door was broken open. He frowned, and a cold expression appeared in his eyes. The dragon eyes of the yin-yang and 5 elements swept across the surroundings and finally landed on Yong Xingping. A hint of killing intent flashed in his eyes. Wang Xian, right? Right in front of him, Yong Xingping and Commander Li also saw Wang Xian. A smile appeared on their faces. They waved their hands, and a level 2 Eternal Lord soldier walked towards Wang Xian coldly. What's the matter? Wang Xian walked out of the door slowly. He glanced at the dilapidated door and asked coldly, "We are soldiers from the Blackwater front line of the Xian Heaven domain. The situation at the front line is urgent now. We need to requisition your war pets." The middle-aged soldier said as he walked towards Wang Xian slowly. "We already know how many war pets you have. Now, bring your war pets back to the front line with us." He stopped 2 meters in front of Wang Xian and spoke with an unquestionable tone of command. "What if I say no?" When Wang Xian heard his words, he narrowed his eyes slightly and a trace of anger surged in his heart. Requisition. Directly requisition the war pets in his hands. They actually dared to do such a thing. Was it Xian Umbrella's intention? No, that Xian Umbrella should know some of her identity. She wouldn't dare to do so. Is this an order from your general or a personal order from you? Wang Xian turned his head abruptly and stared coldly at Yong Xingping. "What's wrong, kid? You still dare to resist. Do you know what happens if you resist us? If you know what's good for you, bring your battle pets and follow us. Otherwise, you will suffer in the future." The soldier suddenly stretched out his hand and patted Wang Xian's shoulder heavily as he spoke in a cold tone. Is this the morality of the frontline soldiers of the mysterious sky? Wang Xian's eyes turned cold as he stared at the middle-aged man coldly. "Shut up. Don't court death. Leave immediately." The middle-aged man's face turned cold when he heard his words as he shouted sternly. Killing intent appeared in Wang Xian's eyes. This fellow was too arrogant. How dare he be so arrogant to a level 2 Eternal Lord? You're the one who's courting death. Wang Xian moved his arm and a deathly silent energy covered the middle-aged man directly. At the same time, he used soul capture directly. Chapter 2305. 2305. I helped Xian Tian clean up the trash. Bang! A terrifying force landed on the middle-aged soldier. He didn't even have time to react before the destructive force penetrated his body. At the same time, the middle-aged man was in a trance. His eyes were filled with fear. He never expected that Wang Xian would dare to kill him directly. He listened to the commander's orders and deliberately provoked the other party so that he would be wanted immediately if he escaped. However, he never expected that the other party would dare to kill him. He was a soldier of the Xian Heaven domain. Killing him was equivalent to making an enemy of the entire Xian Heaven domain. Stop! On the opposite side, Commander Li and Yong Xingping's expressions changed drastically when they sensed the power that Wang Xian had unleashed. This fellow actually wanted to kill his subordinates. If a soldier was really killed by him, they would definitely be punished for taking the initiative to come here to recruit war pets. Their expressions changed drastically as they let out a furious roar. Buzz. Wang Xian waved his arm and kept the absent-minded middle-aged man into the mother nest. You're courting death. How dare you kill our soldiers? You're courting death. Yong Xingping's eyes were about to split open when he saw this scene. A violent aura surged out from his body and locked onto Wang Xian completely. Commander Li, who was standing at the side, also had a gloomy expression and was filled with fury. In an instant, the surroundings were enveloped by a terrifying energy. At the law enforcement department of the Sky Sea Island, the expression on his face changed drastically when he sensed this violent aura. He quickly flew over. HMPH, how dare you call yourselves Xian Tian soldiers? You are a bunch of trash. You still dare to commandeer the battle pets even though you didn't manage to buy them. If you wanted to commandeer them, you would have already commandeered them this morning. Why are you still here? Today, I will help Xian Tian clean up this bunch of trash. When Wang Xian sensed their violent killing intent, a violent aura surged out from his body. The dragons might spread out in all directions without any restraint. When the surrounding soldiers saw this scene, their expressions changed slightly. They didn't expect the other party to dare to resist. This was simply courting death. All soldiers, capture him. Commander Li roared. Yes. A cold killing intent appeared in the eyes of more than 1,000 soldiers. This wasn't the first time they were facing a powerhouse of this level. As they were in charge of the front lines, they had strong combat experience. A group of weaklings were scattered around. They would attack at the same time. Even if they could not cause any injuries to the enemy, they could still interfere with the battle. They are fighting. Hiss. The boss of the Dragon Palace Battle Pet is fighting with the mysterious Sky frontline warriors. The boss of the Dragon Palace Battle Pet seems to have killed a soldier. Everyone who was watching the battle from the side looked at the sudden outbreak of the battle in shock. Some of the weaker ones hurriedly retreated. The soaring aura was exceptionally eye-catching across the entire Tianhai Island. This is bad. The expressions of the experts who were guarding the Tianhai Island also changed slightly. They immediately flew over. You are aiding the villain in his evil deeds. Don't blame me for killing all of you. Wang Xian saw a group of warriors surrounding him. More than 10 experts who had mastered 1, 2, or even 3 laws were locked onto him in all directions. A cold killing intent could be seen on their faces. Follow us back to the front line to receive your punishment immediately. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite. Yong Xingping stared at Wang Xian and roared with a ferocious expression. Kill. A beast tamer. We are not afraid of you. We will definitely kill you to avenge the vice commander. Beside him, an expert at the first level of the Eternal Lord roared coldly. Kill, kill, kill. All the warriors roared at Wang Xian. A cold, murderous aura surged towards him. Hee hee. Wang Xian smiled sinisterly. Since you want to die, I will grant your wish. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The formation was activated. Wang Xian's body trembled. The formations in the shop rose one by one. As Wang Xian's pet shop, he naturally had to take some precautions. He had set up 5 formations in the shop, 2 for defense, 1 for attack, 1 for illusion, and 1 for disturbing the air with a black hole. For formations to prevent accidents. He did not expect that they would be used to deal with the soldiers at the front line of the mysterious sky. The moment the formation was activated, it instantly covered a radius of 10 kilometers. The surrounding buildings were like bubbles, and most of them collapsed as they retreated backward. A battlefield with a radius of 10 kilometers appeared. Looking from the outside, a majestic energy enveloped this place. Inside the formation, black holes were floating, emitting a heart-palpitating power. The pupils of all the soldiers who were enveloped by the formation narrowed slightly, and a shocked expression appeared on their faces. Yong Xingping and Commander Li's expressions also changed greatly as they solemnly sized up their surroundings. Boom, boom, boom. In the next moment, the attack array was activated, and it directly attacked the entire space. Oh no! An Eternal God Lord rank 5 array formation, Make a move to block it. Yong Xingping and Commander Li's faces were filled with shock as they shouted out sternly. The array formation covered an area of 10 kilometers. If they did not block it, all of their subordinates would die. Roar! At this moment, terrifying roars were heard. A radius of 10 kilometers was very small for an expert of this level. However, when Wang Xian set up the formation, it was impossible for it to cover a radius of more than 1,000 kilometers. The only thing he could do was to narrow the area. As the roars were heard, battle pets appeared in the formation one after another. Led by the ice drill crocodile, which was a level 5 Eternal Lord, one was a level 4 Eternal Lord, and one was a level 3 Eternal Lord. At the back, there were 95 northern howling sky wolves. The terrifying aura caused the entire space to freeze. Not good. He really dares to kill us. Run. Break the formation and run. At this moment, Commander Yong Xing and Commander Li were completely flustered. They never expected that the other party would want to kill them all. Furthermore, Wang Xian's strength had completely exceeded their expectations. Why did a formation suddenly appear? Furthermore, it was such a terrifying formation. According to their plan, even if the other party dared to resist, a beast tamer and an Eternal Lord level 5 ice drill crocodile would be able to easily suppress the other party since the beast tamer's combat strength was weak. Even if they knew that he had other battle pets, they still had the confidence to suppress him. However, the array formation that the other party had unleashed made their hearts palpitate with fear. Oh no, Commander, I can't go back. I can't go back to my eternal divine kingdom. At this moment, an Eternal God Lord rank 1 soldier suddenly shouted out in fear. When he saw so many battle pets just now, he was so terrified that he was ready to escape at any time. However, he sensed that the energy around him was tearing, and he couldn't return to his eternal divine kingdom. This made him panic instantly. What? Yong Xingping and Commander Li's faces also changed drastically, and a trace of fear appeared in the depths of their eyes. Don't be afraid. The movement here will be spread very quickly. There are 7 or 8 law masters on the Sky Sea Island. Yong Xingping's expression was savage as he roared at everyone. Break the formation. Otherwise, we will be finished. You will defend against these war pets. Yong Xingping and Commander Li looked at each other and roared. All right. Commander Li nodded as a terrifying bloody aura erupted from his body. Chapter 2306 2306 Battle and Breakthrough. Hold on. Wait for the Lord outside to save us. Yong Xingping and Commander Li roared with all their might. One of them desperately resisted the ice drill crocodile, and the other desperately attacked the surrounding formation. Damn it! Commander Li's face was extremely ferocious, and his eyes were full of blood. When they came, they never expected this outcome. The other party killed their soldiers without any restraint, and even trapped and killed them. For today's matter, I will definitely kill you. He looked at Wang Xian with an extremely ferocious expression. His blood-red eyes swept across Wang Xian, who was behind him. Today's hatred. Only by killing him would he be able to vent his hatred. Ah! He let out a wild roar. He was fighting against more than 100 war pets by himself. Even he could only hold on for a few minutes. Boom, boom, boom. Yong Xingping was desperately attacking the formation at the side. Now, they could only escape by breaking the formation. Humph. Wang Xian stared at all of them. His eyes were filled with coldness. His gaze swept across the group of Eternal Lord-level powerhouses. He had heard clearly what Yong Xingping and Commander Li said. There were powerhouses on the Sky Sea Island. They would definitely help them when they broke the formation later. After all, they were soldiers at the front line. Since that's the case, let's increase our strength. Wang Xian's eyes were sparkling. He waved his arm and grabbed at the 2 soldiers at the first level of the Eternal Lord. Commander, save us. Seeing Wang Xian making a move, the 2 soldiers at the first level of the Eternal Lord roared in fear. Stop. If you dare to kill my men, our soldiers at the front line of the mysterious sky will definitely not let you off. Yong Xingping turned his head to look. His face was filled with frost as he shouted sternly, "Bang!" However, Wang Xian did not pay any attention to their roars. Two streams of energy wrapped around their bodies and pulled them over. With their strength, it was impossible for them to resist Wang Xian. Buzz. Wang Xian stared at the two of them. With a wave of his arm, a terrifying aura surged into their minds. At the same time, he unleashed soul capture. Buzz. The two of them were stunned. Wang Xian thought of something and released an expert who was hiding in the mother nest. The three of them stood there. Behind them, their eternal kingdom slowly emerged. Wood, wind, and light. The eternal kingdom with three attributes appeared behind them. Before it was completely solemn, the phantom image of the Dragon Palace appeared behind Wang Xian. Boom, boom, boom. The virtual image of the Dragon Palace directly devoured the three eternal divine kingdoms. At the same time, in the boundless sea of the boundless starfield, the Dragon Palace, which was suppressing the entire boundless starfield, suddenly trembled. The level of the Dragon Palace is increasing. All members of the Dragon Palace, fly out immediately. Prime Minister Gue immediately said to all the members of the Dragon Palace. His eyes were filled with fervor. Dragon King, it's time to step into the eternal Divine Lord realm. He murmured, his eyes full of excitement. The Dragon King is invincible. All the members of the Dragon Palace knelt down and worshipped him piously. Boom, boom, boom. In the next moment, the Dragon Palace directly rose into the sky, and an incomparably vast energy spread out in all directions. At this moment, everyone within a radius of 10 billion kilometers could sense the vast Dragon Palace in the sky, especially the aquatic creatures and humans near the boundless sea. They looked up in a daze, filled with awe. The Dragon Palace that was over 1,000 kilometers in diameter began to expand rapidly. The ocean-pacifying needle emitted golden light, as if it could stir up the entire boundless sea. Finally, the Dragon Palace slowly expanded to a radius of 5,000 kilometers, emitting a vast divine light. All the members of the Dragon Palace could sense the vastness and power of the Dragon Palace. Buzz. Dragon Palace, Level 7. Dragon Master, Wang Xian, Eternal God Lord Level 1 Yin-Yang 5 Elements Divine Dragon. Buildings. Dragon King Palace, Level 7. Increases the Dragon King's cultivation speed and recovery speed by 384 times. Dragon Transformation Pool, Level 7. Absorbing dragon blood can give birth to a dragon. Origin, 254. Dragon Gate, Level 7. A fish can only become a dragon if it leaps over the Dragon Gate. Effective against creatures below Undying Emperor. Ocean Pacifying Needle, Level 7. Pillar of the Dragon Palace. Pacifying 8,000 kilometers of the Dragon Palace, increasing 1,000% of the combat strength of the members of the Dragon Palace. Dragon Cave, Level 7. With 1,000,000 Dragon Caves, the cultivation speed of the creatures in the Dragon Cave will increase by 256 times. Dragon Field, Level 7. Martial arts practice in the Dragon Field, increasing comprehension by 128 times. Dragon Array, Level 7. Dragon Palace Array. Concealment, defense, gathering of spiritual energy, wormhole, detection, attack. Spiritual items. Ancestral tree. Level, able to return the soul of creatures below Eternal Lord level. Activate the spiritual intelligence of creatures. Increases the speed of fire attribute cultivators by 400%. Increases the speed of wood attribute cultivators by 400%. And lightning attribute cultivators by 400%. Annex, Dragon Transformation Pool to nurture dragon species. Current dragon species, golden swordfish, thunder shrimp, demon monkey, strange demon, light thorn, hydra, dragon turtle, yaksha, clam girl, golden lobster, starwood dragon species, fire phoenix dragon species. Special buildings. Dragon nest, dragon of devouring, none. Dragon of Devouring. Energy consumption can be used to create its own insect-like species. The queen insect feeds on various metal materials. The upgrade of the Dragon Palace gave off an invincible aura. The attributes of the level 7 Dragon Palace appeared in Wang Xian's mind. A smile appeared on his face. At the same time, within the formation, with the upgrade of the Dragon Palace, he naturally advanced to the realm of the Eternal Lord. Around him, a 7-colored divine dragon appeared and circled around his body. Roar! The 7-colored divine dragon suddenly shot out a terrifying radiance. It raised its head and let out a roar. Roar! Roar! With a roar, everyone in the formation and all the war pets trembled. They raised their heads and looked at Wang Xian. Their hearts trembled violently. The entire space suddenly fell silent. Everyone stopped what they were doing. What kind of power is this? Yong Xingping and Commander Li's eyes were filled with fear. Under their senses, Wang Xian's strength seemed to have increased by a lot in an instant. His aura just now was at most on par with theirs. Now, it was much higher. It was almost comparable to the Lord God who had mastered 7 laws. What kind of roar is this? At this moment, the divine dragon that was coiled around Wang Xian's body let out a dragon roar and penetrated the formation that he had set up. When everyone outside heard this roar, their faces changed drastically. Their faces were filled with fear. Whoosh! 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 At this moment, more than 20 Eternal Lord-level powerhouses were hovering above the formation. A hint of solemnity flashed across the eyes of the old man in the lead. The roar from within actually made him feel a powerful threat. What exactly happened? The old man looked down warily. He had been prepared to attack directly, but now he was afraid. Chapter 2307. 2307, 2307 fought and broke through. Island Master, the one fighting inside the array formation, is the boss of the Dragon Palace's battle pets and the thousands of soldiers on the front line. It seems that the soldiers on the front line came to commandeer all the battle pets of the Dragon Palace just now. The boss didn't agree, and the battle broke out immediately. Around the array formation, a middle-aged man who understood the situation flew to the sky and reported to the Island Master of the Sky Sea Island. Soldiers at the front line? Requisition war pets. The old man of the Island Lord was slightly shocked, and a trace of astonishment appeared on his face. While he was shocked, his face was also a bit solemn. These formations were set up by a group of soldiers. The Island Lord continued to ask, "It seems not." The middle-aged man was a bit uncertain. It should be the formation set up by the boss. I didn't see a group of soldiers set up the formation. This is bad. The Island Lord's expression changed slightly when he heard his words. He stared at the middle-aged man and immediately asked, "Are there any generals among the soldiers?" Those who could become generals were mostly those who had mastered 6 or more laws. The rest who wanted to become generals would have to earn great military merits. No, there are 2 commanders leading the team. The middle-aged man shook his head with certainty. Everyone knew very well that 2 commanders were leading the team. Everyone, retreat. After hearing that, the island owner's face darkened. A formation compass appeared in his hand. The roar from the 2 commanders was the Dragon Palace's pet owner. With such a terrifying roar, all the frontline soldiers would be killed. Phew! At the same time, Wang Xian, who was inside the formation, sensed the increase in his strength. A smile appeared on his face. The 9 wisps of divine fire had reached the first level of the Eternal Lord. This was a qualitative improvement for him. The current him could fight against the Eternal Lord who had mastered 7 laws. Wang Xian took a glance at everything inside the formation. Commander Li was still desperately fighting against the battle pets. He reckoned that he would be killed in no time. Yong Xingping was attacking the formation. However, there were 2 defensive formations inside. If he wanted to break them, he would need at least another minute. The divine pills are not completely settled yet. I'm still a little lacking if I want to upgrade them. Wang Xian looked at the remaining pills and a smile appeared on his face. There was still half of the deposit from Fugua that he had yet to pay. After paying, he would be able to upgrade them again. At that time, he, who was at level 2 of the Eternal Lord, would be able to fight against the Lord God who had mastered 8 laws. However, he was strong enough now. Name, Wang Xian. Race: Yin-Yang 5 Elements Divine Dragon, Mandragon Unity. Level: Eternal God Lord Level 1. Sixth form of the Divine Dragon Transformation. Origin: 1/10. Supernatural ability: Ruling over the Water Tribe. Ruling over the Water Tribe below one's level. Devouring creatures to extract the origin. Control of the 5 elements. Cultivation method: Divine Dragon Transformation. Supernatural ability: Soul Capture, Spirit Attachment, Yin-Yang 5 Elements Dragon Eyes. Aspect: 5 Elements Grinding, Dragon Kingdom in the palm, Dragon Head under the heavens, Dragon Body of 10,000 miles, Yin-Yang Poles, Yin-Yang 5 Elements Alms Bowl, Divine Dragon Tail Swing. Law: Metal, Wood, Water, Fire, Earth, Light and Darkness. Level 1. Divine Kingdom, Dragon Palace. Dragon Palace owned. Level 7. Members of Dragon Palace: 165633. The 6th transformation of the Divine Dragon Transformation, grasping the laws of 7 attributes. Energy has become the power of origin. Wang Xian revealed a smile as he looked at the field in front of him. Crack, crack, crack. Huh. All of a sudden, Wang Xian raised his head and saw that the sky above the formation was beginning to crack. An even more powerful energy was attacking the formation that he had set up. There's an expert attacking. He raised his eyebrows slightly. He sensed the opponent's strength and realized that the opponent was stronger than him. It was possible that the other party was an Eternal God Lord rank 7 array master. After setting up the array, he could contend against an Eternal God Lord rank 8 expert. There are experts outside. There are experts outside attacking. We are saved. Some of the soldiers saw the array slowly collapse. Their faces revealed a look of survival, and their faces were full of excitement. Sir, outside. Kill him. Kill him. A shrill and cold roar came out from Commander Li's mouth. He hurriedly dodged the attacks of the war pets one by one. His entire body was in a sorry state as he roared ferociously. When he saw that the formation was broken, he hurriedly fled outside. Sir, kill him. Yong Xingping roared ferociously with the same murderous aura. Roar, roar, roar. In the next moment, more than 100 war pets of the level of the Eternal Lord let out a cold roar in unison. Wang Xian moved his body and stood on the body of the ice drill alligator at the front. His eyes were filled with coldness. The formation dissipated and everyone saw the scene inside. Nearly 1,000 soldiers fled outside as if they were running for their lives. Their cold and shrill voices reverberated throughout the entire Sky Sea Island. However, this was not the most shocking part. What was shocking was that there were more than 100 battle pets in the middle. The 2,000-meter-long ice drill alligator was floating in the center, emitting a cold aura. Behind them, 95 northern howling skywolves were lined up in a row, their auras making people's hearts palpitate. Just this scene alone had shocked the entire Sky Sea Island. These are so many war pets. Oh my god. This. Is this the Dragon Palace war pet? An extremely terrifying Dragon Palace war pet. This war pet is too heaven-defying. More than 100 war pets were equivalent to more than 100 experts at the level of the Eternal Lord. Such strength made everyone's heart palpitate. In front of these 100 war pets, the thousands of soldiers could not be compared at all. How dare you guys come to the Dragon Palace to recruit war pets? Who gave you the courage? Hee. Wang Xian glanced at all of them with a face full of mockery. You're dead for killing the soldiers at the front line of Blackwater. You're dead for sure. Yong Xingping stared at Wang Xian with a ferocious expression and roared with killing intent. Sir, kill him, kill him. He roared and looked at the island owner beside him. I'm a teacher of the Mysterious Sky Academy. How dare you come here to forcefully recruit my war pets? Who gave you the order? You still want to kill me? Everyone involved in today's matter must die. Wang Xian revealed a hint of brutality on his face. He moved his body and instantly charged towards Yong Xingping. Everyone, stop. When the island owner saw this scene, he frowned slightly when he heard Wang Xian's words. A frontline commander and a teacher of the Mysterious Sky Academy. Both of them were core experts of the mysterious sky territory. However, the front line actually came to commandeer the battle beasts of the Dragon Palace's war pets. Did they need to send experts over directly? They were all core experts of the mysterious sky territory. Couldn't they just give the order directly? Then, why did they cause such a huge commotion and even lost a life? Was it a game between the experts? The island owner felt a headache. He swept his gaze across the artificial intelligence. After confirming Wang Xian's identity, he didn't know which side he should help. Die. Wang Xian ignored the island owner's words. He moved his body and charged directly at Yong Xingping and Commander Li. The terrifying aura caused their expressions to change drastically. When the island owner saw that Wang Xian was ignoring him, his face turned black. He moved his arm and prepared to set up a formation. Roar! However, at this moment, the war pets roared in unison and flew to the front of the island owner. Their roars shook the world. All the war pets have been bought by the powerhouses of the royal family of the Federation. If there are any casualties, you will be responsible. Wang Xian said, and continued to attack Yong Xingping and Commander Li. The island lord's face darkened. Yong Xingping and Commander Li's faces changed drastically, and their hearts pounded violently. Chapter 2308. 2308, 2308 Charge to the front line. Bind. The island lord's expression was extremely ugly. He was naturally very clear about the Dragon Palace's battle pets. He was also clear about the arrival of the experts from the sword domain, the front line, the land of battle techniques, and the Federation. However, he did not expect such a thing to happen. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. With a light shout, the water ropes directly wrapped around all the battle pets. With his strength, he could still suppress all the battle pets. Protect. Following that, he waved his arm again and a powerful defensive formation was formed. The formation surrounded nearly 1,000 warriors who had yet to reach the Eternal Lord realm. Then, he stood there and did not move. As for Wang Xian attacking the two commanders, he did not interfere either. If you can't beat him, you can escape. If he protects you before you reach the Lord realm, it will be an explanation to the generals at the front line. As for the experts of the Eternal Lord, it has nothing to do with me if I don't run away and die. Damn it. Damn it. Just you wait. Just you wait. When Commander Li saw Wang Xian charging over, his face was filled with malevolence. However, he didn't dare to fight him. His figure flickered slightly. Buzz. Commander Li's figure disappeared, followed by Yong Xingping. Let's go. The rest of the experts who had reached the level of Eternal Lord did not dare to hesitate and left in an instant. Gulp. The warriors who were protected by the formation could not help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. Their faces were extremely pale. They looked at Wang Xian who was in front of them. Their eyes were filled with fear. Escape? Wang Xian stared at the spot where they had disappeared. His eyes were filled with frost. He swept his gaze around and saw the captive battle pets and the soldiers who were being protected. You can't kill ordinary soldiers. I have already reported this matter to the front line and the lords of the Xintian Academy. When the island owner saw Wang Xian's gaze, he reminded him coldly. I know. I will only kill the two commanders. Release the battle pets. Wang Xian said to him. The island owner took a glance and released all the war pets with a wave of his arm. Roar! Roar! The war pets let out a low roar and flew toward Wang Xian. Let's go to the front line. Wang Xian's figure moved and landed on the ice drill crocodile. He pointed at the defense line at the front line and flew away immediately. To the front line? What is he doing? The island owner's expression changed. The surrounding experts were also dumbfounded. The owner of the Dragon Palace's war pet was standing on top of the war pet and aggressively flying toward the front line. Was he going to chase them to the front line? This was too fierce. What kind of place was the front line? It was the battlefield of the dark sky domain against the sea monsters, and it was where many experts gathered. There were more than 10 peak eternal godlords there, not to mention experts who had mastered 7 or 8 laws. It was a little heaven-defying to see the owner of the Dragon Palace's war pet charging straight at them. The island lord's eyes widened slightly, and a speechless expression appeared on his face. This matter couldn't be blown up, right? After all, the owner of the Dragon Palace's war pet was also a teacher of the Mysterious Sky Academy. Forget it. I'll inform the Mysterious Sky Academy and the frontline general about this matter. I won't bother with it anymore. The island lord looked at the damaged area below and immediately beckoned for someone to deal with it. At the same time, he sent this news to the academy and the frontline. Those two damned fellows. I must kill them no matter what. At this moment, Wang Xian was standing on the ice drill alligator. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. The two of them charged straight at him. Even if he didn't make a move, the other party would still attack him. He wouldn't let such a person off. Even if the other party was the commander of the front line, he would still die if he provoked him. Sky formation, my strength has increased. Do you have any powerful curses? Wang Xian squinted his eyes slightly and immediately asked the God Emperor of Sky Formation. Yes, you are really powerful. You are able to fight against a God Lord with 7 laws, even though you have just stepped into the Eternal Lord realm. At this moment, the God Emperor of Sky Formation, who had sensed Wang Xian's strength, was full of astonishment. It had only been a short while, but Wang Xian already possessed such terrifying combat strength. If he was given a few years, wouldn't he be able to reach the Divine Emperor realm? When that time came, there was hope for him to be resurrected. The curse of the Eternal Lord is at level 6. Thousands of shadows surround him. This curse can kill people. The curse of the Eternal Lord is at level 5. Without the help of experts, he will almost certainly die. As the God of Heaven's formation spoke, he started to imitate Wang Xian. Stop! Wang Xian ordered his battle pets. He immediately calmed down and learned the 1,000 shadows surrounding curse. It would take a long time to learn an array formation. Fortunately, Wang Xian had the guidance of the God of Heaven's formation. Even if he couldn't master it, it was enough as long as he could use it. It took a full 10 minutes. Under the guidance of the God of Heaven's formation, Wang Xian managed to carve 2,000 shadows surrounding curse arrays. Each formation took him a few minutes. If this was a battle, he would have been killed long ago. Wang Xian had already collected the blood essence of the two of them during the battle earlier and started to cast the curse. Our academy's teachers are fighting with the soldiers at the front line, and now they are rushing to the front line? At this moment, on a tower in the middle of the Xintian Academy, a director who was responsible for the affairs of teachers received this message with a stunned expression. This teacher seems to be... Looking at the information sent by the island owner of the Tianhai Island, he felt that it was somewhat familiar. He frowned slightly. Teacher Wang Xian from the formation court. That's right, it's him. The old man recalled the incident that happened in the academy yesterday. Although he wasn't involved in it, he still had some understanding of it. It's him again. Her brows were tightly knitted. She immediately contacted Director Jean from the formation court and contacted a few vice principals. The teacher of the academy had engaged in a battle with the frontline commander, and a life had even been lost. This was a huge matter. In less than a minute, figures appeared in the office one after another. The old man displayed the information and turned his gaze to Dean Jian. This? The faces of Dean Jean, the vice school heads of the Beast Tamer School, and the others were slightly embarrassed. Causing trouble again? A bitter expression appeared on the vice school head of the Beast Tamer School. To actually dare to fight with the frontline soldiers, regardless of whether it is right or wrong, such a teacher must be severely punished. Not to mention, he even killed someone. An old man said with a solemn expression, "The frontline soldiers are not under the responsibility of the law enforcement department. If someone kills the frontline commander, the frontline generals will definitely kill him." An old woman beside him raised her eyebrows. When the frontline soldiers fought with the sea monsters, a large number of people died every day. In the mysterious sky territory, the frontline soldiers had great authority. If a soldier made a mistake, they could only hand it over to the frontline for punishment. The law enforcement department of the mysterious sky territory was not qualified to enforce the law on the frontline. Now that someone dared to kill the frontline soldiers and chase after the frontline commanders, the frontline generals would definitely kill them. even if the other party was a teacher of the Shintian Academy. Let's go to the front line immediately. Don't let the matter blow up. Director Jean said with an embarrassed expression. We're going there? A vice principal looked at him in puzzlement. I'll inform the principal now. Let's go there first. We can't let the people at the front line hurt Wang Xian. Director Jean rubbed his brows and said immediately. Chapter 2309. 2309, 2309 had arrived at the front lines. Upon hearing Director Jin's words, the faces of the 8 or 9 people around them revealed a stunned expression. Inform the principal. Is there a need to inform the principal about such a small matter? The principal is so busy, A vice principal raised his eyebrows slightly. Only the Formation School and Beast Tamer School knew about yesterday's incident. No one else knew about it. Yesterday, the parents of the students were suppressed, and 2 of the top students of the Beast Tamer School were killed. It was this teacher who did it. The principal said that we should just kill him. The vice principal of the Beast Tamer School said softly as he looked at Director Jean beside him. What? The crowd was stunned as their gazes fell on Director Jean. He was sent here by the principal, and the principal pays close attention to him. I'm not too sure about the exact situation either. The last time he killed someone, it was also the principal who said so. So be it. Seeing them looking at her, Director Jean said bitterly. She didn't think that this fellow would be able to cause so much trouble. Just yesterday, he had killed the parents of a student and 2 prodigies, and today, he had killed the commander of the front lines. Maybe he knows that even if he kills him, the dean will not say anything. He might even protect him. Director Jean thought to himself. Then let's go over immediately. The generals at the front line are all more hot-tempered than the last one. A deputy dean said immediately. Let's go. Let's inform the generals at the front line first. We'll go over immediately. Everyone nodded and flew towards the teleportation formation immediately. Since this matter involved the dean, they didn't dare to slack off at all. However, what surprised them was that Wang Xian was actually the boss of the Dragon Palace's war pet. Then, wasn't he also a beast tamer master? Even if he was a powerful array master, he was also a beast tamer master. His talent was too heaven-defying. Perhaps this was also the reason why their dean valued that young man. When the experts of the Mysterious Sky Academy rushed to the front line, they were located in an area covered by a huge array at the front line. This huge array was covered by an extremely powerful array, and the nomological powers were emitting terrifying undulations. This was a sky-reaching array personally set up by the Mysterious Sky Territories, son of God Xian Tianzi. The huge array was created for the Eternal God Lords, and almost all of the Eternal God Lords' eternal divine kingdoms were here. At this moment, 2 figures flew out of the formation. They looked at each other with extremely ugly expressions and landed in a huge command room at the front line. They dared to kill us and our subordinates. We must avenge them. We must cut them into 1,000 pieces. Yong Xingping growled at Commander Li with a ferocious expression. We will report to the general and kill them. But we? Commander Li's expression was ferocious, and it kept changing. The other party had killed his subordinates, and the front line would punish him, but they would also be punished. Even if it's a heavy punishment, even if it's a demotion, we have to kill him. Yong Xingping clenched his fists and roared coldly. Come, let's go in. The 2 took a deep breath, bowed, and walked inside. General Xian, you must stand up for us. The 2 of them walked inside with a bow and an aggrieved look on their faces. However, as soon as they entered, they felt that the atmosphere was not right. Inside, 4 or 5 generals were sitting there. When they saw them coming, their eyes showed a cold look. Island Lord Song has already told us about the Tianhai Island. Who gave you the order to commandeer the Dragon Palace's war pets? A general on the left shouted with an extremely embarrassed expression. General, we admit this crime. However, the Dragon Palace's war pets shop was originally in our Mysterious Sky territory. They didn't sell the war pets to US first, and instead sold them to others. I can't take this lying down. We originally wanted to bring him here, but we didn't expect him to directly attack and kill our soldiers on the front line. Commander Lee immediately knelt on the ground and said with a face full of embarrassment. Yong Xingping also hurriedly knelt down and lowered his head. HMPH, you made the decision on your own accord, so there will naturally be punishment. However, that mysterious Sky Academy teacher dared to kill our frontline soldiers. He must be tired of living. Our soldiers can only die on the battlefield. They can't die anywhere else. A general roared with a face full of awe. When Yong Xingping and Commander Lee heard the general's words, a trace of malevolence flashed across their faces. Even if they were to be punished, that fellow had to die. Since the general had spoken, no one could save him. Ah! At this moment, the bodies of the two men suddenly trembled. A shadow suddenly rushed out from their bodies. The shadow looked strange and bloody, and it directly charged towards them. The eyes of the two people who had not reacted showed confusion and fear. The intense pain on their bodies and the huge wound on their chest made them extremely panicked. In front, the 5 generals who were sitting on the chairs were slightly shocked when they saw the shadow that suddenly appeared from their bodies. Buzz! At this moment, 2 more shadows rushed out from their bodies, and with the bloody and strange smell, they attacked them again. Ah! The shadows seemed to have no physical body and once again left large wounds on their bodies. This time, a trace of fear appeared in their eyes. What was this thing? Buzz! A 3rd shadow appeared and attacked them once again just like before. This time, the 2 of them hurriedly dodged to the side. Pong! In the room, a general made a move and directly bound the black shadow. This is... A general stood up doubtfully and sized up the black shadow. However, things were not so simple. Another black shadow appeared from their bodies and directly attacked them. The 5 generals raised their eyebrows and waved their arms again. A general waved his energy and wrapped the bodies of the 2 of them to check. Buzz! Even though there was energy wrapped around them, a black shadow appeared from their bodies again and attacked them. At this moment, Yong Xingping and Commander Lee's faces were filled with fear. What was going on? Why was there a black shadow coming out from their bodies to attack them? If it wasn't for the generals, they might have been killed by the black shadow. It's a curse. Only a curse array can attack in such a strange way. A general said with a solemn expression. A curse array. The other generals were slightly shocked. This curse array can kill 2 people. It seems that the other party wants to kill them. The eyes of the general who spoke flashed with an icy cold light. It's the boss of the Dragon Palace's battle pets. It's definitely him. It's definitely him. General, save us. When the 2 of them heard the general's words, they immediately cried out for help. At this moment, their faces were incomparably pale. He killed our frontline soldiers, and now he wants to kill 2 of our commanders. He's courting death. Immediately send people to punish him. A general roared with a face full of killing intent. Roar, roar, roar. Just as he finished speaking, roars that shook the sky were transmitted over. This roar, full of unbridled. Chapter 2310. 2310 should be the 2nd generation. At the back of the Blackwater front line, Wang Xian was standing on the ice drill alligator. Behind him, there were more than 100 sea monsters of the level of the Eternal Lord. He looked at the Blackwater front-line military camp, which was more than 10,000 kilometers in front of him. His eyes were flashing with a cold look. The roars of the battle pets shook the world. In front of him, Wang Xian could feel the energy that was filled with palpitations. There were at least 100 people who were stronger than him in the entire Blackwater front line. However, he still barged in unscrupulously. His biggest trump card was not Shen Tianzi, but the fact that he had advanced to the level of the Eternal Divine Lord. With his current strength, it would be very difficult to kill him without the Immortal King and the formation to trap him. At most, he could make a big fuss today and escape back to the Dragon Palace in the boundless sea with his tail between his legs. At the same time, he could also go back and visit Shuqing and the rest. The next time he went back, Wang Xian would call Shen Tianzi over to take revenge. Commander Yong, Commander Li, get out here. Wang Xian stared at the entire frontline military camp. With a loud roar, it spread across an area of more than 10,000 kilometers. He's here. He actually dared to chase after us. General, kill him, kill him. At this moment, in the command room, Yong Xingping and Commander Li stood there with pale faces. When they heard the roar of their battle pets and heard this voice, they shouted at the 5 generals with a face full of killing intent. You're courting death. How dare you barge into our Blackwater front lines? Today, I will chop him into pieces. A burly general's face revealed a thick, murderous intent as he flew out. The other 4 generals also flew out with gloomy faces. The AI on one of the general's arms flickered, but at this moment, he did not open it to check the information. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Who dares to cause trouble at the front line of Blackwater? Are they courting death? HMPH, they dare to barge into our front line and cause a ruckus here. They are unforgivable. When the 5 generals flew out, the entire front line was also attracted by the roar of the war pet and the arrogant roar of Wang Xian. In an instant, more than 1,000 Eternal Lord experts flew out. In the entire Xian Heaven domain, the front line had the most experts. Among the 1,000 Eternal God Lords, there were many experts who had mastered 5 or 6 laws or more. They looked behind them and charged towards Wang Xian with a terrifying aura. Roar, roar. Faced with so many experts, the group of war pets also let out a low roar. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, an even more majestic figure flew towards the front. Generals were floating in the sky. In just a minute, more than 10 generals were staring at Wang Xian coldly. You are the boss of the Dragon Palace's war pets, the sinner who killed our soldiers. The 5 generals who flew over had murderous looks on their faces as they stared at Wang Xian furiously. Sinner? Hee. I came here to ask who ordered Commander Yong and Commander Li to lead the soldiers to my Dragon Palace's war pets to commandeer the pets? If you can't buy a pet, you can just take your men and rob it. Is this what you Blackwater frontline people do? Wang Xian's gaze swept across the more than 1,000 Eternal Divine Lords and landed on a few generals. He questioned in disdain. No matter what, those who dare to kill our frontline soldiers will have to pay the price. A general in the middle said with a grim expression, Haha, what a joke. Others are coming to snatch my things, yet I'm not retaliating. Are you Blackwater frontline people all bandits? Wang Xian laughed out loud and roared with a face full of sarcasm. Impudent! Impudent! Kill him! As soon as he finished his sentence, numerous strong men charged at Wang Xian with terrifying auras. Some generals were even prepared to make a move. Kill him! Kill him! At this moment, Yong Xingping and Commander Li flew over as well. They stared at Wang Xian with eyes filled with fury and malevolence. This fellow actually dared to come to the front line of Blackwater. He was here to court death. Wang Xian, what are you doing here? At this moment, a blue figure flew over. She stared at Wang Xian in disbelief and flew towards the front. She stopped in front of a few generals and cupped her hands at them. Little girl, do you know him? One of the generals looked at Xian Umbrella and asked in surprise. Great-grandpa, I know him. Xian Umbrella nodded and looked at Wang Xian, who was standing on an ice drill crocodile with hundreds of war pets following behind him. Come here and kill those 2 guys. Wang Xian looked at Xian Umbrella as well. He pointed at Yong Xingping and Commander Li indifferently. Impudent! You dare to come and kill us? You don't put us in your eyes at all. Today, no matter what your identity is, I will definitely kill you. An old man holding a walking stick had a furious look on his face. A compass immediately floated above his head. Great-grandpa, you can't. Seeing this scene, Xian and hurriedly stopped the old man. She knew that this guy was the son of the old ancestor's friend, and the old ancestor had personally taken care of him, so she absolutely couldn't kill him. Great-grandfather, he has some relationship with our old ancestor. Xian and hurriedly reminded the old man. Huh. The old man was slightly stunned. Everyone around was also slightly shocked, and Yong Xingping and Commander Li's faces turned pale. The soldiers of our Blackwater front line are guarding the front line. Every year, countless deaths and injuries occur. No matter what his identity is, if he dares to kill the soldiers of our Blackwater front line, he will have to pay a heavy price. Suppress him, and I will bear all the consequences. The eyes of the old man holding the walking stick flickered. However, very quickly, he raised his walking stick into the air and said coldly as before. The old man was the third-generation descendant of the mysterious Sky Clan. In other words, he was the grandson of the mysterious Sky Clan and ranked in the top 3 in the entire mysterious Sky Clan. Some consequences, some things, he could bear, but he also dared to do them. However, he had some misgivings when he changed the word kill to suppress. If he had a deep relationship with the patriarch, he wouldn't dare to kill him. Suppress him, suppress him. Yong Xingping and Commander Li mumbled as they clenched their fists tightly. They had a bad premonition. Even if they were to suppress the other party, they would be severely punished. When Xian Umbrella heard her great-grandfather's decision, she was also slightly silent. She looked at Wang Xian. This fellow was too arrogant. He was so arrogant that he directly brought over 100 battle pets and charged over. This was the front line of the Blackwater region. It was the battlefield where all the experts of the Xian Heaven region gathered. There were more than 100 descendants of the Xian Heaven region. If you were arrogant, the descendants of the Xian Heaven region would dare to punish you. Even if you had a relationship with the patriarch. I can't kill you this time. I can kill you next time. When Wang Xian heard their conversation, his gaze landed on Yong Xingping and Commander Li. The killing intent in his eyes was not concealed at all. Impudent. Suppress him. The old man with the walking stick shouted immediately. Yes, General. The few generals beside him nodded immediately. A terrifying aura erupted from their bodies. Stop, old man, stop. At this moment, more than 10 figures flew out from the teleportation formation of the front line of the Blackwater Formation. Chapter 2311. 2311 became the second generation. Stop, old man, stop. A sudden voice sounded, causing the few generals who were about to make a move to be slightly stunned. Boom, boom, boom. At the teleportation array, the group of Mysterious Sky Academy's upper echelons who were rushing over at high speed erupted with their might at this moment and flew over. Xiao Jin, why are you all here? The old man with a walking stick waved his hand and looked at the group of Xintian powerhouses who were flying over. Among more than a dozen people, the weakest one was an Eternal Lord powerhouse who had mastered 9 laws. 2/3 of the high-ranking officials of the Xintian Academy had arrived. Dean Jin's face was filled with helplessness when he saw the battle formation at the front line of the Blackwater Academy. He looked at Wang Xian, who was in front of him. He looked at Wang Xian, who was riding on a level 5 battle pet of the Eternal Lord. He looked like he was not afraid of the world and was even more speechless. There were many experts who were stronger than him. He was still so arrogant. It was obvious that he was relying on the patriarch and the headmaster. Old man, dismiss everyone. Director Jean said to him. The old man who was holding a walking stick looked at the surroundings when he saw them rushing over. Do what you have to do. Don't stay here and watch the show. He waved his arm and the thousands of experts around him dispersed immediately. Before leaving, some of them looked at Wang Xian curiously. This fellow must have an extraordinary background. Teacher Wang, let's forget about this matter. Director Jean looked at Wang Xian and said helplessly. This fellow had killed 3 people in the academy yesterday. Today, he dared to come to the Blackwater front line to kill people. This fellow was too arrogant. The Black Heaven Academy and the front line of the Blackwater region had the highest number of experts in the entire Black Heaven domain. If he was so arrogant in these 2 places, wouldn't he be going to heaven in other places? Of course, she didn't dare to teach Wang Xian a lesson. After all, he was someone whom the dean had personally given to her. Furthermore, the dean had personally given the order to kill him yesterday. The 2 of them led the warriors directly to my shop and asked me to take out all of my battle pets. They even said that they wanted to requisition them. I want to know who gave the order. It's obvious that the 2 of them have bad intentions. I can't keep them alive. If there's someone else who ordered them to do so, I want an explanation as well. Wang Xian saw Director Jin and the rest coming over and pointed at Yong Xingping and Commander Li, who were left behind by a general. Young man, is it a fact that you killed our frontline soldiers? We must have an explanation for this matter as well. When the old man holding a walking stick heard his words, anger appeared on his face as he spoke coldly. Killing our Blackwater frontline soldiers in the mysterious sky territory is an unforgivable crime. A general also spoke indifferently. Hee, don't talk so much about it. Why would I kill people for no reason? I'm definitely going to kill these two people. If you want an explanation from me, go and look for Senior Xian Tianzi. Wang Xian raised his head slightly and said indifferently. He didn't expect that the experts from the mysterious Sky Academy would come. Since they were here, it was time for a showdown. If there was anything to look for Xian Tianzi, he must be killed. Today, he would be treated as a good-for-nothing disciple and a second-generation heir. As Wang Xian spoke, he walked straight towards Yong Xingping and Commander Li, completely ignoring the generals around him. You! The old man holding the walking stick was furious. Second Grandpa, we have contacted the dean. This fellow is a thorn. Yesterday, he killed 2 students of the Xintian Academy who offended him and a student's parent. The dean killed them as he wished. The deputy dean of the Beast Tamer School transmitted his voice to the old man. Huh. The old man holding the walking stick was slightly stunned. A hint of surprise flashed across his face. He was so unscrupulous. When they were young, they didn't care about being so arrogant. You. What are you doing? What are you doing? Yong Xingping and Commander Li saw that Wang Xian was walking towards them. The generals around them were indifferent, and their expressions changed drastically. At this moment, the two of them were extremely terrified. They didn't expect Wang Xian to have such a background. He dared to directly contradict the general. The higher-ups of the Xintian Academy even rushed over for him. What was his identity? Who sent you here? Wang Xian stared at them and questioned coldly. No one sent us here. It was us? Yong Xingping looked at Wang Xian with fear. He looked at the general beside him as though he was begging for mercy. At this moment, the two of them were trembling. Now, they knew that they had gotten themselves into big trouble. This time, they were done for, completely done for. Even if they didn't die today, they would still be punished severely in the future. If they make a mistake, we will punish them with military law at the front line, a general said with a gloomy face. He caused me to kill a few soldiers. He deserves to die. If I didn't show mercy, those 1,000 soldiers would have all died. Besides, they offended me. Let me do it. Wang Xian looked at the general and said calmly, We will handle the matter. Soul Catcher. Bang bang. As the general spoke, Wang Xian's mind stirred and he unleashed his Soul Catcher power. At a distance of about 100 meters, Wang Xian launched an attack at such a close distance in an instant. A ball of energy enveloped their bodies. Before the people around could react, the deathly silent energy enveloped their bodies and obliterated all their auras. At this moment, the expressions of everyone around changed drastically. It was especially so for the more than 10 generals. Their faces were extremely ugly as they stared at Wang Xian furiously. The higher-ups of the Xintian Academy were also having a headache. To kill 2 commanders in front of the generals of the Blackwater front lines, even if the 2 of them were in the wrong, they were too arrogant. The old man holding the walking stick trembled slightly. He held the walking stick tightly in his hand and wanted to make a move. This was not taking them seriously. It was no less than a public slap in the face. Little Xian, I didn't expect your strength to increase so quickly. However, at this moment, a voice suddenly appeared out of thin air. Following that, a figure appeared in front of Wang Xian. At this moment, Xian Tianzi was looking at Wang Xian in astonishment. Wang Xian had only been here for 2 months. 2 months ago, based on his senses, he was at most at level 2 of the Eternal Lord. But now, he was able to instantly kill 2 level 5 Eternal Lord experts. The explosive power he unleashed could contend against level 7 of the Eternal Lord. In just 2 short months, he had risen to level 5. Xian Tianzi even suspected that he was the reincarnation of Tian Qian. Even if he wasn't the reincarnation, He didn't know if he had obtained all of Tianqin's inheritance. Now, he really had some doubts. Grandpa, great-grandpa, patriarch, dean. At this moment, all the surrounding experts were slightly shocked when they saw Xian Tianzi suddenly appear. They hurriedly shouted, and many experts directly knelt on the ground. This old man in front of them was one of the 4 great godly monarchs of their Tianzi continent. He had single-handedly established the ruler of the mysterious heaven domain. What made them even more shocked was that this ruler had actually made a trip specifically for that young man's matter. The old man with the scepter in his hand was somewhat suspicious. Did his grandfather have another son outside? Chapter 2312. 2312. The battle between 2312 humans and sea monsters. Hee, senior, it's all thanks to the abundance of resources in the Tianzi continent. Wang Xian smiled when he saw Xian Tianzi rushing over. His backer had arrived. Even I am a little surprised. Little Xian is actually a beast tamer master. Impressive, impressive. Xian Tianzi smiled and shook his head. Initially, I thought it would be safer for you to be their teacher. I didn't expect you to take such a risk. Let's go. Let's go down and have a chat. All right. By the way, senior, I have some use for their eternal kingdom. Wang Xian suddenly waved his hand and stored the 2 corpses into his interspatial ring. Then, he said to Xian Tianzi, send them to Little Xian later. Xian Tianzi said to the crowd at the side. With a wave of his arm, he flew down with Wang Xian. The crowd was stunned when they saw the patriarch bringing Wang Xian down to a spot below. The old man who was leaning on his walking stick twitched the corner of his mouth. His grandfather was here, but he didn't say a word to him. Instead, he kept chatting with that young man. Are you sure that this isn't the illegitimate son of the patriarch? Otherwise, why would you treat him like this? Get those 2 fellows eternal divine kingdom over here. Also, announce to the public that they violated the military order and killed the frontline soldiers. They were killed immediately. A general said after a moment of hesitation, looking at the attitude of the patriarch, let alone asking for punishment. If the young man was injured, the patriarch might ask for their punishment. As for Yong Xingping and Commander Li, the 2 of them would be killed for violating the military order. Xian Umbrella looked at the place where the patriarch and Wang Xian had disappeared with a complicated expression. If the girls from the Xian Tian descendants could really marry this Wang Xian, they could really become the most honorable people in the entire Xian Tian territory. Also, his strength shocked Xian Umbrella. Such a young aura. Yet he had the strength to be comparable to an eternal god master who had mastered 6 or 7 laws. This was simply monstrous. The underground sea is very dangerous. Little Xian, you'd better be careful. Don't go deep into the underground sea. In a courtyard at the front line of the Black Water, Xian Tianzi and Wang Xian sat in front of a table and reminded him, Senior, don't worry. I will be careful. The path of the strong is never safe. Wang Xian was grateful for Xian Tianzi's reminder and said with a smile, That's true. The path of the strong is filled with danger. Your current strength is completely beyond my expectations. You have the heart to become stronger. I will not stop you. Xian Tianzi took a sip of tea and took out a token. This is an identity token. Take this token and no one in the entire Tianzi continent will make things difficult for you. There is also an array formation inside which is sufficient to withstand an attack from an immortal god king. During this period of time, you will be able to escape. As he spoke, he handed a token condensed from the laws to Wang Xian. Thank you, senior. Wang Xian did not reject him. He reached out and took the token. This token was equivalent to a life. There's no need. This thing is nothing compared to the formation you took out. Xian Tianzi shook his head. That was also given to you by the Celestial Emperor of Heaven's formation. Wang Xian smiled. Teacher Celestial Emperor of Heaven's formation. Did he really die? Xian Tianzi hesitated for a moment before asking him. Senior Xian Tianzi should know about it within 10 years. Wang Xian also hesitated for a moment before replying. Xian Tianzi trembled slightly as excitement flickered in his eyes. What did he mean by this? The celestial emperor of heaven's formation didn't die? This kid is really confident. He managed to advance to the celestial emperor realm within 10 years, and he even helped him reconstruct his body? The celestial emperor of heaven's formation, who was behind Wang Xian, muttered as he revealed a faint smile on his face. As long as Wang Xian agreed to help him rebuild his body, he had a 100% chance of resurrecting him, let alone 10 years. After all, this kid had obtained the divine dragon's inheritance. Dong dong dong. At this moment, an extremely urgent voice rang out, clearly entering Wang Xian's ears. The sea monsters are invading. Running Tiger, Roaring Sun, Blue Sun, and the Heaven's Punishment Army are going to battle. Following that, a voice rang out, Senior, what is this? Wang Xian was slightly taken aback as he looked at Xian Tianzi. The sea monsters are invading. This is one of the 5 front lines. Xian Tianzi did not show any reaction to this. He had seen this kind of situation many times. Then, why didn't Senior make a move directly? If you made a move, I believe that you would be able to kill all the invading sea monsters in an instant. Is it because of the sea monsters at the level of the king of the underground sea? Wang Xian looked at Xian Tianzi and asked curiously. There's a reason for that. 50 years ago, I just had a huge battle with the shark muscle god king. That battle lasted for more than 10 days. If I were to attack and kill the ordinary sea monsters, it would also attack and kill the ordinary humans. Xian Tianzi shook his head. There are 7 sea monster god kings in the underground sea. Among them, there are 2 immortal god king level sea monsters that basically don't provoke it. It won't attack humans either. Those 2 don't like the environment above us and haven't fought with humans much. The other 5 sea monster kings are brutal by nature. They have their own races and each of them occupies their own territory. They often attack humans. Every year, tens of millions of people in the entire natural selection continent die in battles with the sea monsters. Xian Tianzi slowly introduced them to him. Can't we destroy them completely? For example, we can look for experts from other planets to help us destroy them completely. Wang Xian asked, how can it be that easy? The humans in the greater world are at a disadvantage. Not to mention inviting the godly king to help us, the sea monster will also run away when it is attacked by 2 godly kings. Even the eternal godly master is hard to kill, let alone the immortal godly king. The word immortal is not something that can be casually added. Xian Tianzi shook his head. After chatting with Xian Tianzi for about half an hour, Xian Tianzi left right after reminding Wang Xian to be careful. Although he was the immortal god king, he had to oversee the Xian Tian territory at all times. This was because he did not know when the shark muscle god king would attack. Once he was not around, the entire Xian Tian territory would be destroyed. The current Xian Tianzi was fighting for the humans of the Tianzhe continent. The godly monarchs from other places were doing the same. They were suppressing and protecting one side. Every immortal godly monarch was deeply respected by the people. They were the true guardians. After Xian Tianzi left, Wang Xian stood up and his eyes flickered slightly. From Xian Tianzi's words, he finally understood the current situation of this world. Humans were not as easy as he imagined. Let's go to the battlefield and take a look. Hearing the roars and roars coming from afar, Wang Xian's figure moved and flew toward the front line. Roar, roar, roar. Just as he rushed over, Wang Xian could smell the surging stench of blood rushing toward him. In front of him, there was a sea that was the color of congealed blood, emitting a terrifying stench of blood. A towering city wall stood in front of the sea. The city wall was over 10,000 kilometers long and was 5,000 meters tall. In front, 1,000,000 soldiers and sea monsters fighting. One by one the bodies fell. Extremely tragic. Chapter 23:13. 23:13 2,313 Godlord, and the rest of the aquatic creatures would be enslaved by me. It was brutal, truly brutal. In one battle, there were 1,000,000 people from the 4 legions, about 200 eternal god lord level warriors, and the rest were all god level warriors. These warriors were fighting with the sea monsters above the ocean. People died every second, and some fell into the pitch-black ocean below. The sea water was pitch black, and there was bright red blood mixed in the middle. The entire area tens of thousands of kilometers ahead was a meat grinder. The city walls had turned dark red, and there were traces of being attacked. Wang Xian looked over and was slightly moved. This was the first time he had seen a battlefield of this level. In the past, he had only seen some scenes when he obtained the divine dragon's inheritance. Now that he was seeing it with his own eyes, he was extremely shocked. No wonder Xian Tianzi said that tens of millions, or even tens of millions of people would die on the battlefield every year. Wang Xian mumbled. There were more than 100 billion people in the natural selection continent. The number of people born every year was more than 100 million. However, the number of people in the Tianzi continent had already maintained a balance. With the lifespan of the people in the Tianzi continent, when they advanced to the godly state, their lifespan would be 10,000 years, and the lifespan of the Godlord would be 100,000 years. The number of people would only increase. However, due to the war, the number of people did not increase at all. Wang Xian swept his gaze across the battlefield. Most of the warriors had the strength of 5 wisps of divine fire or above. However, with such strength, it would not be an exaggeration to say that they were cannon fodder in such a large-scale battlefield. In the pitch-black ocean below, there were a group of sea monsters with sharp thorns all over their bodies. Their body sizes ranged from 10 to 1,000 meters. These were the shark mussels of the sea monsters, a group of extremely bloody sea monsters. They were also one of the main enemies of humans. In the ocean, regardless of whether humans or sea monsters were killed, they were all devoured by the crazy sea monsters at the bottom of the ocean in the next second. At the bottom of the ocean, there are at least a few hundred sea monsters at the level of the Eternal Lord. Wang Xian scanned the area below with his yin-yang and 5 elements dragon eyes. Slowly, his eyes sparkled. The divine dragon was a race at the peak of the universe. It was the king of the water tribe. Its dragon might could intimidate all the water tribe members. Wang Xian could increase his strength by devouring the water tribe members. The corpses of the water tribe members could also increase the strength of the soldiers of the Dragon Palace. If the Dragon Palace was transferred here and killed the sea monsters and obtained their corpses, the speed of the improvement of the Dragon Palace would be terrifying. With my current strength, the sea monsters below the Eternal Lord can directly rule over them. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled. He moved his body and flew directly into the ocean below. Who is that? Why did he suddenly charge into the battlefield? Wang Xian flew over and attracted the attention of some people around him. The soldiers on the front line were equipped with uniform armor. All of them fought together and charged forward together. It was very eye-catching for a person to charge into the battlefield alone, and he was dressed in ordinary clothes. However, no one stopped him. There was a battlefield below. Some of the commanders were willing to fight with the sea monsters. Naturally, they did not have any objections. Bang! Wang Xian flew over the city wall and entered the pitch-black ocean. This black ocean had a special energy. Even if he was a few kilometers away from the city wall, the depth of the ocean was at least tens of millions of kilometers. Wang Xian entered the sea without causing any ripples. He swept his gaze forward. With his yin-yang and 5 elemental dragon eyes, he could see countless sea monsters in front of him. There were more than tens of millions of sea monsters. There were literally hundreds of millions of them. Among them, 60 to 70% of them were below the godly state. There were also 50 to 60 million of them above the godly state. If it weren't for the army formation above them and the chaotic sea monsters, the humans would definitely suffer heavy losses. The humans who formed the battle formation and charged at the chaotic sea monsters would be able to fight against 10,000 of them. With so many sea monsters, if I were to absorb them into the Dragon Palace and turn them into dragon blood, it would be able to allow a large number of Dragon Palace members to reach the level of Eternal Godlord. Wang Xian's eyes were burning with passion. There were more than 160,000 members in the Dragon Palace now. If all of them could become Eternal Godlord, when he was able to kill the immortal God King, he would be able to lead the Dragon Palace to pacify the entire underground sea. This was not impossible. Perhaps I need to send the members of the Dragon Palace here so that I can improve quickly. In the Boundless region, it would take at least a few years for the Dragon Palace to add an eternal God Lord. This was also because the level of the Dragon Palace had improved and the spiritual energy had increased tremendously. In Wang Xian's opinion, such a speed was too slow. Rule some sea monsters and increase the strength of the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian stared at the sea monsters in front of him. His body moved and he flew forward. Roar! Roar! Before he could reach 1,000 meters, hundreds of sea monsters noticed him. Their ferocious bodies charged straight at him. Dragon might, rule. All the aquatic creatures below the god level will be my slaves. Wang Xian's eyes flashed with a cold expression as he unleashed his ruling power. Buzz, buzz, buzz. In an instant, an extremely terrifying power was transmitted forward. Now, his strength had improved tremendously. The area covered by the dragon's might had reached a radius of 300 kilometers. 300 kilometers was just a corner in this battlefield that was tens of thousands of kilometers wide and endless in length. However, this was sufficient for Wang Xian. Roar! At the front, the sea monsters trembled slightly and flew toward Wang Xian. There were about 100,000 sea monsters in the area of 300 kilometers. Judging from the number of sea monsters attacking the sea monsters, it was only a small portion. Buzz, buzz, buzz. More than 100,000 sea monsters flew over. Wang Xian's body shook as he shook their consciousness and killed them. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Behind him, the virtual image of the Dragon Palace appeared. One sea monster after another entered the Dragon Palace. Increase the strength of the members of the Dragon Palace and try your best to reach the realm of Eternal God Lord. In the Dragon Palace in the boundless sea of the boundless galaxy, Wang Xian's voice reverberated throughout every corner of the Dragon Palace. All the members of the Dragon Palace immediately stood up and bowed. I will obey the Dragon King's order. Following that, all the members of the Dragon Palace saw the corpses of the sea monsters entering the Dragon Palace one by one. Bring these corpses to the Dragon Transformation Pool immediately. Ao Yao, Ao Qitian, Ao Qi, and the other leaders come over. Prime Minister Gue immediately stopped them and gave the order. Boom, boom, boom. The sea monsters entered the Dragon Palace one by one. In just 10 minutes, the number of the sea monsters had reached 1 million. Among them, there were quite a number of corpses of the 9 wisps of divine fire at the peak of the godly state. This caused all the members of the Dragon Palace to have a burning look in their eyes. At the bottom of the sea in the Blackwater battlefield, Wang Xian revealed a smile. He kept pushing forward. He avoided some of the sea monsters at the level of the Eternal Lord. All the sea monsters below the level of the Eternal Lord flew directly toward him after they were ruled. The situation here didn't attract the attention of too many sea monsters. The wild and cruel sea monsters didn't notice the situation here either. With so many sea monsters, it's possible for the Dragon Palace to have more than 100 Eternal Godlords and 2 commander corpses. It seems that we'll have to stay here for a few days. Chapter 23:14 2,314 sea creatures below the level of the Master God were all his slaves. Rule. In the sea at the front line of the Black Sea, Wang Xian was located deep in the bottom of the sea. He looked at the mermaids and sea monsters in front of him with a burning expression on his face. With the rule activated, all the sea monsters below the level of the Eternal Master God within a radius of 300 kilometers surged towards him. More than 100,000 sea monsters seemed to have been caught by an invisible fishing net and were thrown into the Dragon Palace. A large number of sea monsters turned into dragon blood and became the resources for the members of the Dragon Palace to improve. I have almost conquered 5 to 6 million sea monsters. There are also more than 1 million celestial-level sea monsters. However, this is not enough. Wang Xian calculated in his heart. 1 million celestial-level sea monsters was not a lot, but it was definitely not a small number. There were not so many celestial-level experts in the entire boundless galaxy. However, a million god-level sea monsters, ranging from a wisp of divine fire to the peak of the god level, could at most add dozens of eternal god lords to the Dragon Palace. Go to the front. The center is mostly god-level shark-muscled sea monsters. He stared ahead and flew over. The more he flew forward, the stronger the shark-muscled sea monsters would be. There were even quite a few eternal god lord-level merman sea monsters. No one dared to barge into the ocean when the sea monsters attacked the city, because even the eternal god lord could not withstand millions of frenzied sea monsters. Not to mention that there were eternal god lord-level sea monsters inside. The water of the ocean was black. This kind of black was not pure black, but a kind of energy black. Even the eternal god lord's vision would be obstructed here. If he was not careful, the eternal god lord would die if he was ambushed here. Roar! When Wang Xian was about 10 kilometers ahead, a blood-red pupil was staring at him. A few hundred meters long god lord-level sea monster was attacking him. Hee. Wang Xian looked at this sea monster and did not pay any attention to it. His body shook and all the sea monsters within a radius of 300 kilometers rushed towards him crazily. The sea monster at the level of an eternal god opened its mouth slightly when it sensed Wang Xian's provocative aura. However, at this moment, the sea monsters below the level of an eternal god swarmed over crazily and even collided with its body. This made the sea monster at the level of an eternal god slightly dumbfounded. A group of underlings dared to provoke a commander-level creature like it. Boom, boom, boom. However, before the eternal god lord shark muscle sea monster could think too much, it saw that the prey in front of it had been completely surrounded. Roar! It let out a dissatisfied roar and did not rush over again. It looked up, locked onto a human, and directly rushed out. Gone? Seeing this scene, it slightly raised its eyebrows. With a thought, it immediately had hundreds of shark muscle sea monsters surround it, not leaving a single gap. The fresh blood of the merman sea monsters covered his surroundings, concealing his aura. Following that, Wang Xian dashed toward more sea monsters. With the merman sea monsters surrounding him, there were indeed no sea monsters attacking him. Boom! Wang Xian's body shook and his dragon aura covered a radius of 300 kilometers once again. Hundreds of thousands of merman sea monsters charged toward him. Even if there were master-level merman sea monsters who sensed Wang Xian's dragon aura, they gave up because there were too many sea monsters flying over. Following that, Wang Xian led the group of sea monsters and flew to the side. With a jolt of his aura, he killed them and kept them into the Dragon Palace. Following the same method, he once again controlled the hundreds of sea monsters to surround him and flew forward. Am I considered a husky who mingled with the wolves? No, I'm a divine dragon mingling with the sea monsters. Wang Xian thought to himself with a smile on his face after more than 10 consecutive times. Even a peak eternal god lord wouldn't dare to venture deep into the underground sea of the battlefield. Yet, he was doing well here. It seems that I can add at least 400 to 500 eternal god lords to the Dragon Palace this time. The rest of the members of the Dragon Palace will also receive a huge boost. Wang Xian thought to himself as he continued to rule and kill the sea monsters below. In just a short span of 3 hours, the number of sea monsters that were killed by Wang Xian had reached 50 to 60 million. Among them, at least half of the divine realm muscle sea monsters that he paid special attention to were gone. Why are there so few divine realm sea monsters in this attack? There are indeed fewer of them. Don't worry about it. Kill them all with your full strength and kill all of them. Above the Blackwater Sea, the warriors of the 4 legions were fighting against the sea monsters one by one. Fresh blood splattered everywhere, and the smell of blood soared to the sky. Roar, roar, roar. Oh no, I've encountered a top-notch sea monster. At the bottom of the sea, Wang Xian was surrounded by hundreds of mermaids. The moment he entered the sea monsters and released his ruling power, he was met with a cold and violent roar. Following that, he saw a terrifying impact force coming towards him. A sea monster with at least level 8 or 9 of the Eternal Lord. Releasing his dragon aura is considered a provocation. A sea monster with such strength can sense him. After staying at the bottom of the sea for about 4 hours, Wang Xian was completely discovered by a mussel-man sea monster. Without any hesitation, he commanded the sea monsters within a 300-kilometer radius to attack the powerful mussel-man sea monster. His figure flew directly toward the surface of the sea. Roar! A violent sound rushed out from the bottom of the sea. The warriors above could hear it clearly. Many of the warriors' faces changed slightly. A few of the top-notch experts from the 4 armies moved their bodies and stared at the bottom of the sea to prevent this powerful sea monster from launching a sudden attack. Splash! Hundreds of thousands of sea monsters were entangling the level 8 and level 9 shark mussel sea monster of the Eternal Lord. Wang Xian flew out of the sea surface easily. Boom! 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 When he had just revealed his head, numerous attacks landed on his body. He's one of us. Wang Xian sensed the energy and shouted immediately. Why is he here? In the sky, Xian, who was the commander of the Blue Sun Army, was stunned when she saw Wang Xian flying out from the sea. Damn, what's going on? Why is there someone flying out from below? The few soldiers beside him were also stunned. Under such circumstances, there were still people who dared to enter the ocean below. Wang Xian ignored them and flew towards the city wall. He had gained enough this time. If he continued to rule, it would affect the Eternal Lord's sea monsters inside. At that time, he would be attacked by the powerful mermaids. It would be hard for him to gain too much. When he came to the city wall, Wang Xian scanned his surroundings and saw a general standing not far away. He had only met General Wang Xian once, but it was enough for him to meet him once. He moved his body and immediately flew toward the general. When he flew over, the general also looked at Wang Xian. When he flew out from the bottom of the sea, he noticed Wang Xian. At this moment, he was also a little curious. What was this guy doing at the bottom of the sea? Killing sea monsters? Chapter 23:15 23:15 Dragon Palace Upgrade. Hello, General. Wang Xian walked to the front of the old general and cupped his hands at him. Around him, more than 10 commanders looked at him with curious expressions. Hee, little brother. What's the matter? General Xianjin looked at Wang Xian with a smile on his face as he asked. Not long ago, he met Wang Xian and saw him killing 2 commanders in front of the group of experts. He saw the patriarch coming here personally for his business. He didn't dare to slight a young man who was highly valued by the patriarch. General, do you still have a place to stay? It would be best if there are tens of thousands of people here. Wang Xian said directly to him. Stay? Stay in the military camp? I wonder why you want so many places to stay. Chief Xin looked at him with some doubts. I have some subordinates who want to let them come here to gain experience. Wang Xian said with a smile. Oh, then we are more than happy to welcome you. Let me bring you there. Chief Xin nodded with a smile. He gestured to the few commanders beside him and flew inside with Wang Xian. That young man seems to be the one who came here arrogantly on his mount today. It's him. Commander Yong and Commander Li are dead. He is fine. It seems like he is being watched by the old ancestor. Yong Xingping and Old Li brought this upon themselves. They deserve to be killed for kicking an iron plate. The few commanders whispered to each other as they watched the general personally lead Wang Xian to fly back. Over here, we have a lot of empty space at the front line. This is a pretty good place. The concentration of spiritual energy is relatively high. It's considered pretty good in the entire front line. Xin Jinsho brought Wang Xian to a location where there were many houses. It could be considered pretty good. Little brother, your subordinates can stay here. If you want to participate in the battle at the front line, you can form a team alone. Of course, you can also join other legions. He continued to speak to Wang Xian. Form a team alone. Follow your legions in every battle. Wang Xian said with a smile. All right, inform me when your men arrive. I'll report to you. Guardian Xian nodded his head. I'll have to trouble you then, General. Wang Xian thanked him. He smiled and introduced a few others before turning around and leaving. Wang Xian scanned his surroundings. The entire area was enough to house 10,000 to 20,000 people. He came to a spot in the middle and waved his arm. He set up a concealing formation here. Dragon Gate of the Dragon Palace appear. He moved his body and an incomparably huge dragon gate appeared in the sky. Only a corner of the dragon gate was exposed, but this corner was a few kilometers in size. With a move of his body, he flew straight in from the dragon gate. Summoning a corner of the eternal divine kingdom was also a characteristic of the eternal divine kingdom. Greetings, Dragon King. Greetings, Dragon King. When Wang Xian entered the dragon palace, the yakshas on patrol immediately bowed respectfully. Okay. Wang Xian nodded his head and scanned his surroundings. The entire dragon palace was more than 10,000 kilometers in area. The huge dragon palace only had about 100,000 people. It was slightly spacious. He moved his body and flew directly in the direction of the Dragon King Palace. Dragon King. When he arrived, Aonu immediately walked over and greeted him respectfully. Yes. He nodded his head and looked at the ancestral tree. With the improvement of the Dragon Palace, the ancestral tree had also experienced tremendous growth. The ancestral tree was now more than 1,000 meters tall with luxuriant foliage. Each branch bore extremely precious fruits. Where's the Dragon Queen? Wang Xian asked Aonu. Dragon King. The group of Dragon Queens are cultivating in the Dragon Transformation Pool. The leaders are also cultivating. Aonu immediately replied. Upon hearing that, Wang Xian immediately walked into the Dragon Transformation Pool. At this moment, the Dragon Transformation Pool was more than 100 kilometers in circumference. The 9 pillars of the divine dragons looked even more majestic and lifelike. Each pillar was 10,000 meters tall, and a large amount of dragon blood flowed into the Dragon Transformation Pool. The 100-kilometer-sized Dragon Transformation Pool was about 1,000 meters deep. At this moment, half of the dragon blood was already in the pool. The Dragon Transformation Pool was emitting an incomparably resplendent vitality. Inside, the group of leaders, the Berserk Dragon species, Starwood Dragon species, and Thorn Dragon species were increasing their strength. Wang Xian looked over and revealed a smile on his face. It wouldn't be long before the Dragon Palace would be able to increase the number of Eternal Masters by a few hundred. Furthermore, all of them possessed the combat strength of level 3 and 4 Eternal Masters. At that time, with these members of the Dragon Palace as the foundation, they would be allowed to enter the battlefield to fight. It wouldn't be long before the strength of the Dragon Palace would be greatly enhanced. After looking around, Wang Xian retreated immediately. He returned to the front line and closed the Dragon Palace. Now, what he had to do was to wait for the members of the Dragon Palace to be upgraded and for the Fu Nation to pay the rest of the deposit. As for the rest of the deposit, Wang Xian would devour all the resources and be able to upgrade to the 2nd level of the Eternal Lord. At that time, he would have the strength of the 8th level of the Eternal Lord. With the strength of the 8th level of the Eternal Lord, he would be considered as one of the top experts in the entire Tianzi continent. At that time, he would be able to capture more sea monsters for sale. Perhaps, it wouldn't be long before he would possess the combat strength of an immortal god king. As he thought about it, a smile appeared on Wang Xian's face. He found a room in the middle and began to cultivate here. On the battlefield, the sounds of battle could be heard incessantly. It lasted for more than 10 hours before it ended. The soldiers on the front line had long seen and were used to battles of this level. Such battles could erupt 5 to 6 times a month. However, this time, it was much easier than before. The number of god-level Muscleman sea monsters was obviously much less than before. Time passed very quickly. On the 3rd day, Fuguo brought over 3,000 people to this place. Little brother, I'll have to trouble you next. Fuguo walked in front and said to Wang Xian. At the same time, he was also a little curious. Why was this Wang Xian staying at the front line of the mysterious sky territory? Was he from the front line? However, if he was from the front line, why would he sell his battle pet to them? Although he was curious, he didn't ask too many questions. It's no trouble. It might take more than 10 days to help you tame your war pets. Wang Xian smiled and shook his head. In the next half a month, Wang Xian would help them tame their war pets. More than 3,000 war pets was a waste of his time. When Wang Xian was taming his war pets, many generals came to visit him. Looking at these powerful war pets, their hearts were burning with passion. A few generals were ready to talk to Wang Xian. If they could get their hands on more war pets next time, they would sell them all. Phew! Half a month later, Wang Xian had tamed the last war pet. He took a deep breath and sent Fugua and the rest away. Looking at the pills in his hands, he smiled. Chapter 23:16. 2,316 members of the Dragon Palace arrived. Name, Wang Xian. Race, Yin-Yang 5 Elements Divine Dragon, Mandragon Unity. Level, Eternal God Lord Level 2, 6th form of the Divine Dragon Transformation. Origin, 13/50. Supernatural ability. Rule the Water Tribe below their level. Devour living beings to extract origin. Control of the 5 elements. Cultivation method, Divine Dragon Transformation. Supernatural ability. Soul absorbing, spirit attaching. Yin-Yang 5 elements Dragon Eyes. Aspect, 5 elements grinding, Dragon Kingdom in the palm, Dragon Head under the heavens, Dragon Body of 10,000 miles, Yin-Yang dual polarity, Yin-Yang 5 elements Alms Bowl, Divine Dragon Tail Swing. Law, metal, wood, water, fire, earth, light and darkness, level 2. Divine Kingdom, Dragon Palace, level 7. Members of Dragon Palace, 165,693. I've advanced another level. In just a few months here, my strength has increased tremendously. After paying the rest of the divine pills, Wang Xian immediately consumed all of them. Looking at his awakening, a smile appeared on his face. Congratulations on your breakthrough again, Dragon King. At this moment, the congratulatory voices of the members of the Dragon Palace rang out from the side. Wang Xian looked to the side with a satisfied look on his face. The group of 550 members was led by Prime Minister Gu A, Ao Qitian, Ao Qi, Ao Yao, Ao Jian, Ao Xingmu, Ao Fenghuang, Mao Zixin, Ao Crab, and the rest of the leaders. 200 Berserk dragon species, 200 Starwood dragon species, dozens of raptor species, and dozens of arrow dragon species. Arrow dragon species was a dragon species rewarded by the system for ruling a planet. It was one of the strongest long-range dragon species in the Dragon Palace. It contained both wind and metal attributes. Now, dozens of members of the Arrow division had advanced to arrow dragon species. They could fight 3 levels higher without being close to each other. Once they were close to them, they would be able to fight 2 levels higher at most. Once the arrow dragon species was able to stop their attacks without being disturbed, it would be extremely terrifying. 550 members were all the eternal masters of the Dragon Palace. This power was nothing in the Tianzi continent. However, it was comparable to an army at the front line. Prime Minister Gu A, you guys have some understanding of the Tianzi continent, right? Wang Xian glanced at them and landed on Prime Minister Gu A as he asked, Dragon King, I have a basic understanding of it. Ao Yao and the rest will be in charge of collecting assassinations in the future. We will be in charge of the battle. Prime Minister Gu A replied, Yes. Wang Xian nodded. The members of the Dragon Palace had completed their promotion yesterday. He found a few artificial intelligence brains for Prime Minister Gui to let them understand the current Tianzi continent. Young Master Wang Xian. At this moment, a voice came from outside. General, please come in. Wang Xian said directly. Hee. 2 figures walked in. One of them was the guard of Xian Town, while the other was an old man holding a walking stick. The old man holding the walking stick was called Xian Zhe. Xian Zhe was also the strongest person in the entire battlefield. The soldiers called him the general and also the marshal. The 2 of them entered and immediately saw the hundreds of underlings behind Wang Xian. There were humans and demonic beasts. They looked very different. However, both of them were top-notch experts among the Eternal Lord. They were slightly surprised when they sensed the aura of the crowd. May I know why young Master Wang Xian called us here? The guard of Xian Town asked Wang Xian with a smile. General, these are my subordinates. I want them to train here and obtain some resources from the sea monsters' corpses. I'll inform you about it. Wang Xian said directly to them. There's no problem with that. Young Master Wang Xian's subordinates are also a powerful force. In the future, let's form a separate army. How about the Dragon Palace Army? Of course, this is just a title. It's mainly used to address outsiders. If young Master Wang Xian is not satisfied with it, you can change it. Chief Xian nodded his head in agreement. Sure. When war breaks out in the future, our Dragon Palace Army will fight alone. Wang Xian nodded his head. Sure, sure. Since young Master Wang Xian has sent his subordinates here to help us fight against the sea monsters, and the Dragon Palace Army has formed an army alone, young Master Wang Xian, please accept it. Xinzhe, who was at the side, took out a badge with a smile and handed it to Wang Xian. Oh, this? Wang Xian took it and looked at it. His eyes revealed a hint of surprise. The General Badge represents the General Badge of our frontline army. Currently, there are 18 generals in the front line, including 19 young Master Wang Xian. Xian Ziyi said with a smile. There were many generals in the front line, but most of them were deputy generals. As for the real generals, there were only 18 generals who held great power. None of them were weaker than the level 9 Eternal Lord. The general badge in Wang Xian's hand was on the same level as the 18 of them. Thank you, Marshal Xian. Wang Xian smiled and kept it. No need to thank me. Sigh, our front line is more dangerous. More than 100,000 people would die in every war. With General Wang's subordinates here, we can reduce the number of casualties. If we have a mount, we can reduce the number of casualties to the minimum. It's good to have a mount. If we can form a mount army, then we can deal with. Xian Ziyi mumbled and suddenly mentioned about battle mounts. He looked at Wang Xian as he spoke. Wang Xian was speechless when he heard him. It seemed like this old man wanted to get some battle mounts from him. I can get war pets, but I can't sell them to the Blackwater front line at the market price. I can also pay with the corpses of the sea monsters. If you guys don't want them, I will sell them to others. Wang Xian didn't say anything and made a promise directly. If he was short-handed, he would take advantage of others. He would sell them to others as well as to them. There was nothing wrong with selling them in advance. Haha, all right. When can we get another batch of war pets? Xianzhe's eyes lit up immediately as he asked. I don't know. It will take 1 to 2 months at most. Wang Xian hesitated for a moment before replying. 1 to 2 months is fine. All right, then we shall not disturb General Wang. Xian Ziyi left with Xian Zhenshou in satisfaction. The main reason why he gave Wang Xian the position and badge of a general was to get a batch of war pets. Otherwise, with his character, even if Wang Xian was a young man that his grandfather valued highly, he wouldn't have given him the position of a general. After all, which general didn't come out from a pile of corpses? Which one of them hadn't been guarding the front lines for 10,000 years? I really don't know what kind of ability that Wang Xian has. He's so confident that he can obtain a batch of war pets in a month or two. The two of them flew out as Manager Xian said with a twinkle in his eyes. The old man is not blind yet. There are only 2 possibilities for him to value that young man so much. First, that kid is really talented. Even the old man thinks highly of him. Second, that kid is the old man's illegitimate child. Xian Ziyi said with a twinkle in his eyes. Illegitimate child. When Xian Zhenshou heard his words, he was speechless. If it wasn't for the old man valuing him so much, I would have tied him up and tamed his battle pets. However, this kid is quite tactful. I hope that he can get some decent battle pets that can reach half of the royal family of the Federation. Xian Ziyi seemed to be talking to himself as he spoke. Chapter 2317 2317 The Might of the 2317 Dragon Palace Warriors. Wang Xian had no idea that Marshal Xianzhe was plotting against him behind his back. He took out his AI and looked at the message that he had sent to Invincible in combat. During this period of time, He had sent quite a number of messages to this Chinibu, but there was no reply. Yesterday, Wang Xian had seen the message on his AI. Invincible in combat, went to a certain place. This fellow was not in closed-door cultivation, nor did he go deep into the underground sea. It was impossible for him not to know the information he sent. That meant he was not replying to the information. It seems like this fellow is trying to renege on his promise. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled. It was much more convenient to tame a war pet with the invincible in terms of combat techniques. He was not strong, but he had the defense of a supreme treasure. He would not be killed even if he provoked a powerful sea monster. Even Ao Yao and the rest could not do such bait. Therefore, it was the best choice to tame the war pets and bring along the invincible battle tactics. However, this fellow was obviously trying to renege on his promise and did not reply to his message at all. Looks like I have to go and collect the debt this time. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly. The sea monsters are invading. The 3 legions are ready for battle. At this moment, an earth-shattering roar was heard. Wang Xian had heard this roar 3 times. He was not as surprised as he was at the beginning. Let's go and get used to the battlefield. However, this time, Wang Xian flew over with the members of the Dragon Palace. He could not stay here every day. In the future, when a war broke out at the front line, the members of the Dragon Palace would have to participate in the war themselves. Now that they had advanced to the realm of Eternal Lord, the chances of them being killed by the sea monsters were very small. Moreover, even if they were killed, they could be resurrected. It's the Dragon King. 550 experts of the Dragon Palace followed him and flew toward the battlefield. When he rushed over, the 3 legions around him flew toward the Blackwater Sea in unison. Among them, 2 generals stood on the huge city wall and guarded the last defense. Warriors of the Blue Sun Legion, kill. Warriors of the Hatred-Breaking Legion, kill. Warriors of the Daywolf Army, kill. A majestic roar rang out. 800,000 to 900,000 warriors from the 3 armies charged straight into the battlefield. Buzz, buzz. At this moment, Wang Xian led the members of the Dragon Palace to the city wall in front of the Blackwater Sea. General Wang, are your men going to make a move? Guardian Xian stood not far away and asked Wang Xian. Yes. Wang Xian nodded his head. Then, you can decide the actions of your Dragon Palace army. Guardian Xian said. Wang Xian looked at Prime Minister Gue and gestured for him to command the battle. Enter the seabed and start the battle. Prime Minister Gue did not hesitate and immediately ordered all the members of the Dragon Palace. Yes. The group of members of the Dragon Palace moved and flew directly to the seabed below. General Wang, the bottom of the sea is the territory of the sea monsters. Although your people are all strong, it's still very dangerous to enter the sea to fight. When Chief Xin saw them flying straight into the sea, he frowned slightly. It's all right. They are more suitable for fighting in the sea. Wang Xian shook his head. The members of the Dragon Palace were more suitable for fighting in the sea. Their pressure could reduce the combat strength of aquatic creatures. Wang Xian stood at the top and stared at the members of the Dragon Palace who had entered the ocean with his yin-yang and 5 elements dragon eyes. Roar, roar, roar. The moment they entered the ocean, over 200 berserk dragon species led by Ao Qitian and Ao Qi let out a roar. Their bodies instantly enlarged. Each of them was thousands of meters in size. They were holding metal rods or lightning hammer and spears. A terrifying aura erupted from their bodies. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Behind them, more than 200 starwood dragon species followed closely behind, densely packed thorns swaying behind them. At the last position were the members of Mao Zedong's Heavenly Eye Arrow Division. As for the thorn dragon species, they had already hidden themselves in the surroundings. They had all reached the 1st level of the Eternal Lord realm. The higher the 3rd level, the stronger they could fight against the 4th level of the Eternal Lord realm sea monsters. The higher the 2nd level, the stronger they could fight against the 3rd level of the Eternal Lord realm sea monsters. Even the weakest Prime Minister Gue could fight the 2nd level sea monsters. However, Prime Minister Gue would not attack. The turtle shell in front of him was floating with pictures. Prime Minister Gue was commanding all the experts of the Dragon Palace. Heavenly Eye Arrow Division. Attack immediately and attract some sea monsters to attack. Prime Minister Gue ordered immediately. Yes. 40 to 50 archdragon species immediately drew their bows, and terrifying energy condensed. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 40 to 50 archdragon species could fight against a level 4 Eternal Lord under long-range attacks. Each of them drew their bows, and arrows shot forward. The moment each arrow shot out, it immediately turned into a divine dragon. Boom, 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 boom. After a series of shots, one could see waves of water rising from the sky. It was as if there was a terrifying giant creature shuttling through the sea. 45 waves of water rushed into the sea monsters hundreds of kilometers ahead like dragons and snakes. Boom, boom, boom. The seawater exploded and rose up to 10,000 meters. In an instant, hundreds of thousands of sea monsters were killed. This was even when the Eternal God Lord level sea monsters discovered it and blocked it. Otherwise, millions of sea monsters could be killed. What is this? The soldiers of the three armies floating on the ocean looked down in surprise. What was going on? How could a terrifying attack suddenly burst out from below and kill hundreds of thousands of sea monsters? They hadn't even made a move yet. Roar! At the next moment, terrifying roars sounded one after another, including level 5 and 6 Eternal God Lords, and even stronger roars. The group of sea monsters charged towards the direction of the city wall below. They gave up on fighting against the soldiers of the army above. What strong archery skills, what strong strength. Xin Jinsho's face was filled with shock. He was strong enough to see the situation at the bottom of the black water. The 40 to 50 attacks just now were enough to kill a level 5 Eternal Lord sea monster. When Wang Xian saw this scene, a smile appeared on his face. When the sea monster exceeds level 5 of the Eternal Lord, the experts from the other legions will defend against it. Wang Xian spoke to Guardian Xian. Don't worry, they all understand. Guardian Xian nodded his head. His eyes were sparkling as he stared at the sea monster below. Roar! The sea surface was like a dragon and a snake crossing the sea. The commotion was vast. The roar shook the sky. Roar! 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 The next moment, a similarly earth-shattering roar sounded as it charged towards the sea monsters ahead. Madragon, fight! Starwood, fight! Arrow Dragon, lock onto the sea monsters above Eternal God Lord. Behind them, Prime Minister Gue ordered loudly. Yes. Over 200 Mad Dragon species charged forward, each of them several thousand meters in size and wielding terrifying weapons. Kill! The Berserk Draconic species roared, and blood-red energy charged forward. Darkness, fire, and lightning fused into one. Even if there were level 5 Eternal God Lord sea monsters ahead, they would still charge forward. Chapter 2318. 2318 Under the might of the 2318 Dragon Palace Warriors. Boom, boom, boom. In the Blackwater Sea, when more than 200 berserk dragon species attacked, the entire surface of the sea exploded. Black seawater surged into the sky. Streaks of blood-red energy that could be clearly seen swept forward. This was the first time that a battle had taken place at the bottom of the sea. The black seawater rose into the sky, and all the soldiers of the three legions looked down in astonishment. Bang, bang, bang. In the next moment, a terrifying collision sound was heard. Splash! Then, they saw many sea monsters being struck out of the water, and many of their limbs were flying in the air. The endless seawater surged hundreds of kilometers toward the front of the city wall. 4 to 5 million sea monsters were killed in one strike, and some Eternal Lord sea monsters who didn't have time to dodge were also killed. More than 20 members of the Dragon Palace were able to fight against stronger forces. In other words, the combined attack of more than 20 berserk dragon species could threaten a level 5 Eternal God Lord sea monster. This attack was no weaker than the full force attack of 10 level 5 Eternal God Lords. The weak sea monster at the front was killed. Roar! At this moment, roars sounded from the sea monsters ahead. Generals of the three armies, kill the sea monsters above rank 5 eternal god lords. Seeing this, Xuanzhen Shou immediately ordered. Yes. Several experts of the 3 armies locked their eyes on the sea monsters below. Warriors rarely experience battles in the ocean. However, the sea monsters didn't lurk too deep, so the battle between experts wasn't affected at all. Staring at the dozens of sea monsters above Eternal Lord rank 5, the dozens of generals immediately launched their attacks. Roar! Sensing the attack from above, the dozens of sea monsters were full of anger and fought back. Kill! With the help of experts to restrain the powerful sea monsters, the 200-odd berserk dragon species of the Dragon Palace charged into the sea monsters. The Starwood dragon species followed closely behind and attacked the sea monsters. Boom, boom, boom. In just 1 second, blood gushed out of the sea. Countless sea monsters were killed by the berserk dragon species and the Starwood dragon species. At the rear, 40 to 50 members of the Heavenly Eye Arrow Division shot arrows at the Eternal God Lord level sea monsters. Rampage. Slaughter. Over 200 berserk dragon species, each of which was a few thousand meters long, were like a giant wall. At the rear, countless thorns were moving forward, easily piercing through the sea monsters. Slaughter. A naked slaughter. Every second, more than 10,000 sea monsters were killed, and many Eternal God Lord level sea monsters instantly fled back to the Eternal Divine Kingdom. There were only 500 to 600 Eternal Godlord sea monsters attacking the city, and the Eternal Godlord level sea monsters ranged from level 1 to level 9. However, 90% of the sea monsters were below level 5, and 90% were above level 5. And the sea monsters below level 5 of the Eternal Godlord level were completely beaten up by the Dragon Palace. As long as they didn't escape, they would die. As for the other sea monsters below Eternal Godlord, there was no need to mention it. The blood rolled, and the power of the seabed was extremely terrifying. Gulp, what's fighting with the sea monsters down there? What a terrifying power. In the sky above the sea, the soldiers of the 3 armies stared at the seabed in shock. They could vaguely see terrifying creatures fighting with the sea monsters. No, they were killing the sea monsters. They should be our people. Otherwise, our experts wouldn't have gone to support them. Some people whispered. They couldn't participate in the battle at the bottom of the sea at all. This made the warriors float in the sky and look at the bottom of the sea in a daze. This was the first time such a situation had happened. So powerful. General Wang, your subordinates have such terrifying combat strength. Xuanzhen guard stared at the bottom of the sea with awe in his eyes. More than 400 experts who could fight against an Eternal Lord Tier 4 expert were also a formidable force at the front line. Currently, there were about 3,000 Eternal Lords at the front line, but this did not mean that all 3,000 Eternal Lords could fight each time. Many Eternal Lords were healing their injuries, and some were cultivating. Every time they sent out Eternal Godlords, the sea monsters would send out more Eternal Godlord sea monsters. The number of Eternal Godlord sea monsters was more than the number of humans. Once half of these 3,000 people were seriously injured, the front line would basically be finished. The Eternal Godlords at the front line had to maintain 70% of their combat strength in order to deal with the attacks of the powerful sea monsters. In fact, 600 to 700 of the Eternal Godlords were currently recuperating. Although the casualty rate of the Eternal Godlord was relatively low, the casualty rate was not low either. In a one-on-one situation between humans and the sea monster Godlord, you could either make the sea monster flee back to its nest, or humans could return to the Eternal Kingdom. However, when humans returned to the Eternal Kingdom, they still needed experts to fight against this Eternal Godlord sea monster. Therefore, unless humans were seriously injured, they could not directly escape back to their Eternal Kingdom. Once they were seriously injured, it was rare for them to recuperate for 1 or 2 years. It was very common for them to spend more than 10 years. It also happened frequently in the Eternal Kingdom where they died in battle. It was normal for dozens of them to die in a year. Therefore, every time the sea monster attacked, the humans would only send out 3 or 4 legions while the rest of the legions rested. No one could stand the constant battle. When the members of the Dragon Palace attacked, they directly sent out 550 eternal godlords. Although none of them were top tier, they were not weak either. This time, the sea monsters would definitely suffer a tragic death. However, next time, the sea monsters might send out an even more suitable eternal godlord. They did not care about the fact that the godlord level sea monsters would send out even more next time. No matter how many of them were sent out, they would at most be equal to the Dragon Palace army. The addition of the Dragon Palace army was a great benefit to the front line. When the experts of the Dragon Palace army stepped out, the experts on their side could rest. They only needed some top-tier experts to guard the front line. At the bottom of the sea, more than 500 members of the Dragon Palace were fighting like gods of war. The members of the Dragon Palace who had been fighting all the way here, big and small, had more order than the army under the command of Prime Minister Gue. In just a short period of time, more than 500 members of the Dragon Palace were fighting against hundreds of millions of sea monsters. However, the members of the Dragon Palace only managed to hold back a portion of the sea monsters. There were also sea monsters attacking from other places. At this moment, the warriors of the three legions immediately charged forward. Compared to the past, the pressure of the battle this time was greatly reduced. At the very least, a few thousand people would be spared. General Wang, how are your subordinates going to participate in the battle in the future? There has to be a plan for us to make some adjustments. Chief Xin stared at the battle at the bottom of the sea excitedly and asked Wang Xian. He knew what it meant for the front line to have the combat strength of more than 500 people. We will participate in the battle every time. However, the spoils of war from killing the sea monsters will belong to us. Wang Xian replied directly. Every time we participate in the battle, it's best not to continue to participate in the battle if you get injured. The spoils of war will naturally belong to you guys. Guardian Xian was taken aback for a moment before he immediately said. Wang Xian smiled and nodded his head. The members of the Dragon Palace possessed the purest divine dragon bloodline. When they cultivated the divine dragon transformation technique, even if they were severely injured, they would need at most half a month and a month to recover. If they consumed the dragon blood, they would recover even faster. After all, they were a race that was at the peak of the universe. If they fought to nourish the battle, the Dragon Palace would only get stronger and stronger if they continued to fight here. In less than a year or two, the number of Eternal Lord-level members of the Dragon Palace could reach up to tens of thousands or even more. Furthermore, with the protection of the experts at the front line, it would be difficult for the Dragon Palace to lose too much in every battle. It would be extremely profitable. I can go and tame my war pets and sell them in peace. In the future, the Dragon Palace will become stronger and stronger. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled with excitement. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.